All right, good evening. We have a big crowd tonight. We called the meeting to order for the March 20th Selectmen's meeting at 6:30. We had non-public for an exit interview with a DPW employee, and we had a very, very brief 5-minute conversation with the police chief, which brings us to Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All right, obviously we have a couple new faces here on the board. I'd like to congratulate Salem and Benji for, well, obviously congratulations and condolences. It's quite a job, but I think we'll do fine. So we'll go ahead and swear them in, and then we'll move on with our business. I'll take Benji first. I just need the words. All right. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Benjamin Knapp,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
and affirm that I will faithfully
and affirm that I will faithfully,
and impartially discharge
impartially discharge,
and perform all the duties incumbent on me
perform all duties incumbent on me
as a Board of Selectmen member,
as a Board of Selectmen member,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
relative to the rules and regulations,
of the Constitution and the law of the state of New Hampshire.
the Constitution, law, state, and
So help me God.
so help me God.
Welcome aboard, sir.
Hey, Hunter, come here. Oh, it's just a guy? Where's Hunter go?
He's on his phone.
They're here to take it.
You got a couple signatures to do too. Next one. All right. Ready?
Oh, hang on a minute.
Okay. Raise your hand and repeat after me. I, Salem Bloom,
I, Salem Bloom,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
and affirm that I will faithfully
and affirm that I will faithfully
and impartially discharge
and impartially discharge
and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
and perform all the duties incumbent on me
as Board of Selectmen member,
as a Board of Selectmen member
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Can you take me over there real quick? There's something.
Eileen's here.
You got a signature on it.
He wants one photo.
Oh, that's fine.
My goodness, he's following me.
All right. Come on up. You again? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Eileen Meany,
I
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
and perform all the duties incumbent on me
as an Ethics Committee 2-year term member,
as an Ethics Committee 2-year term member,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution and the law of the state of New Hampshire.
of the Constitution and the law of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome back aboard.
Thank you. Is anyone else here? I don't know.
I don't think so. Pretty good at that, apparently.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Just hand those down to. You can hand yours on to me.
No, I'm sorry.
Bring us to public comment.
Okay, and I have copies of this.
Okay.
So good evening, my name's John Morton. I'm a resident and I'm the town moderator. First, congratulations to the new members of the Board of Selectmen. I have several people to thank for their efforts last week of the election. Town Clerk Maureen and her assistant Pam both for facilitating 226 absentee ballots on Monday and 15 hours of working on Tuesday. She brings in nearly 30 years of experience in a caring professional manner to all of her work. All of the supervisors of the checklist, the ballot clerks, and the select board members, all of whom, like myself, are volunteers who help run an efficient process for 15 hours as well on Tuesday. The fire department members who brought the first generator that allowed us to get the ballot machines working shortly after losing power, as well as portable lighting. The police chief for stopping by to evaluate the situation and speak with both volunteers and voters. School maintenance supervisor Tom Weston and his crew, who did a yeoman's effort in getting a much larger generator on site by shortly afternoon, running extension cords to the ballot machines and additional lighting, plus keeping the walkway clear of snow the entire day. What they did was nothing short of amazing. Last but certainly not least, the Department of Public Works employees who worked tirelessly through an historic snowfall of 30 plus inches in less than 24 hours, something that far exceeded the weather forecast. Double the amount of snowfall in half the amount of time period predicted. Their efforts should perhaps receive the greatest amount of praise, especially considering how understaffed their department is and has been for many months with no contingency plan provided for them in such an unprecedented event. This leads me to what we can improve upon as a town going forward. It has been reported to me there's a great deal of frustration and misinformation floating around about the election. The notion of postponing an election is a very recent concept. The spirit and intent of the law is that scheduled elections are to move forward. It's not a decision to keep the election going, it's the expectation. And the wording of the election is in there. The decision must be made by 6 p.m. on Monday, the day before the election. And again, the law is written for that purpose, that the election goes forward. So, the decision to postpone, that's a decision that can be made by the moderator, but only after consulting with town officials and with conditions. So as a matter of due diligence and to obtain input through consultations, I contacted the police chief, the town clerk, the town administrator who oversees many departments, and went to the school in person. Since we also share a school district with Henniker, I also consulted with the Henniker's town moderator who had spoken with his town officials. And in case you guys don't know, what the town moderator for the last 18 years was the Government Affairs Legal Counsel for the New Hampshire Municipal Association. So I would say that he has a pretty good authority on what's going on with elections or postponing. Not one official from either town suggested postponing or offered any caution on going forward. Previously, before the November elections last year, I was assured that there would be adequate personnel to handle plowing the roads. And you can read the further comments about that. In terms of the school generator being inoperable, this has been known by school officials for several months, but I was not made aware of it when I visited the school to inquire about readiness. So there's a lot more notes here, but I'm going to skip ahead because I know there's other people that want to talk. This is a statement from Cordell Johnson, the Henniker town moderator. I understand there's been discussion among Henniker residents suggesting that the reason our town did not postpone last Tuesday's election was that Weare officials refused to postpone. I want to make it clear that this is not the case. Although I discussed the matter with the Weare moderator, we in Henniker had already agreed on our own to proceed with the election on Tuesday. Henniker officials do not in any sense blame Weare officials for not postponing the election. On Sunday night before the election, I emailed our 5 selectmen, the town clerk, and the road agent to raise the question of postponing. So he basically did the same thing I did. I said I did not plan to postpone, but asked them to let me know if any of them had a different opinion. 3 selectmen, the clerk, and the road agent each responded they agreed we should not postpone. No one offered a different opinion. On Monday, our board chair noted that the snow prediction had increased and expressed some concern for elderly voters, but did not expressly postpone or propose postponing, nor did anyone else. And I called the Weare Town Administrator, who said there was no plan to postpone, and gave me the moderator's phone number and so forth. So again, hopefully that clears up a lot of the misinformation about the election. And the one last statement I'd like to make is that you know, everyone that wanted to go out to vote did, or they had the opportunity to. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Frank?
Frank Campana, congratulations to the two new selectmen. First, I want to apologize for my public comment. I'll try to make it in the 5 minutes. I neglected to get in touch with the town and get on the agenda. My comment is directed to the three previously sitting selectmen, not the two new members. And it concerns a non-public meeting that you had with someone on, with a town resident on March 6th. I'm going to preface my comment to that. On February 13th meeting, there was discussion about the transfer station, et cetera, et cetera. Vice Chairman Osborne stated that he would like to, well, it's not quite, there's a word missing here. He would like to have the transfer station manager from New Boston to our next meeting for discussion on how we can be more compliant, et cetera. Well, it didn't occur in the next meeting, but it occurred on the 6th, on March 6th. You folks had I did not attend that meeting because it was a work session, I believe. So you started out with a non-public, and in the minutes of that meeting, it states, the board met with a resident to discuss facility improvements and the possibility of assisting the town. Well, I'm going to connect the dots like I did when Mr. Knapp resigned. And I believe that resident is the manager of the New Boston transfer station. Okay? Now, it said that you met under RSA 91A. I don't know exactly what that is. I got overwhelmed. In fact, actually, I prepared myself this morning to look through the YouTubes, but when my wife got back on the town website, she found that the current minutes were posted. They were not posted yesterday. So this is from this morning. So here's my concern. What are you guys trying to hide? All right? You have a non-public with a regardless of resident or non-resident, but to discuss facility improvements and the possibility of assisting the town? Really? That's non-public? Does that meet the criteria of 91A? Again, I didn't write down what it was. I believe it does. You're hiding something, all right? I think it's deplorable. I'd like to say you guys ought to be ashamed of yourself, keep track of the time and stop me, but it won't mean anything to you. You know, you discussed, I'll give you an example. When Mr. Knapp resigned, sometime after Mr. Knapp resigned, there was discussion about who's going to take care of the town water and sewer, which he has certifications to do that, so you're looking for someone. And I did attend some of those meetings, and, excuse me, after he left, and the town administrator mentioned someone, not by name, didn't make any difference, but there was discussion about she was going to reach out to someone who was capable of filling that position, maybe temporarily. That was not non-public. That was in public. She obviously going to reach out to someone to assist the town. So why is it non-public for one and not non-public for the other, which neither one should have been in non-public? You guys, you're taking advantage of non-public. All right? Who knows what you're talking about? Nobody. Because when was the last time you ever unsealed a non-public meeting minutes? Probably not in my lifetime. So I hope the two new members take to heart and mind of some of the things that go on behind the scenes that the taxpayers never know about, yet they can give you all the money you want. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Tom?
Hi, Tom Flaherty, Sunrise Lane. Try to keep it brief. I know it's going to be a long meeting. I don't know if this came up in a prior meeting, but I've heard, and I hate to do anything based on rumors, but heard rumors that back in January we had a plow truck tip over, go off the road, whatever, and we lost the engine. And I'm just wondering. I know this is just comment, but if it hasn't been covered in a meeting, and I'll go back to the minutes if it has, but. I'd like to know if the board would bring that to the public to let the public taxpayers know if there was an incident with a truck with a substantial amount of loss. It might be under warranty for all I know, but I think that's something that I would like to hear in a board meeting, presented as a taxpayer issue. So just wanted to point that out, that I've heard this, can't confirm it, and I apologize. I haven't gone to the DPW to talk to the staff there, but wanted to bring it up. So. If there's any materials on that, any report, if it did happen, I'll come into the town hall and ask for a copy of it if I can get it. So, thank you.
Anybody else? Public comment?
Hi, Nick Fox, East Shore. I know there's been some questions about the minutes, and just took a quick snapshot of what was available today. And it seems like, I don't know why, but it seems to me, again, like the hidden stuff that's being hidden, it seems like minutes for some reasons are being hidden. What was posted today was just a smattering. Couple in October, couple in February, couple in March. We're missing all of December, all of November, and all of January. I don't know why. Why would we upload October and skip 3 months and then do a couple in March and February? For people that want to read the minutes that didn't make it, can't do the YouTube, that's, I think, again, we're breaking the law every single week by not posting this. Every single week. I went to the meeting where a town administrator said that I'm so busy, there's lots of stuff. Everyone's like, oh, that's great, there's lots of things, we wore lots of hats. Well, maybe the selectmen should remove some of those hats. Step up, help out. These are things that are by law supposed to be done but aren't being done. Partly my fault, but I also found out the town administrator is also the treasurer for the school district. Yet another hat, and getting paid. Why? Why was that even allowed? That shouldn't even be an option. If this isn't even being followed.
That has nothing to do with this board.
Has nothing to do with what?
The treasurer spot has nothing to do with this board.
Correct.
That's
But that's an
correct.
extra activity taken away from potentially doing these. Can't argue that. That's all.
Kyle Parker, Old Francistown Road. I'd just like to congratulate the two new board members, thank them for the time they're going to put in, and thank the current board, because I know that there's a lot that goes on with running the board. One other thing I'd like to just offer, a couple of meetings ago, I watched it on YouTube. It was mentioned that you may not have an inspector available to inspect over at the town hall for the bathrooms, and I'm willing to step up and volunteer my time to do those inspections over at the town hall if it's something you guys are interested in having me do.
Okay.
That's
Thanks,
it, thank
Tom.
you.
Thanks, Scott.
Who else? Yep.
Good evening, Richard Butt. Again, I'd like to congratulate the two new members. And I guess I'd also like to congratulate Lieutenant Frank Hebert for making captain. I saw that on their website. Did I miss the announcement?
It was a title change.
It was a promotion.
No,
So going
just a
from
title change.
lieutenant to captain there's no difference in job descriptions? No money involved?
Nope.
Why was it done?
ICS, Incident Command System.
We can let the chief speak to that
Okay,
later time.
thanks. I'm also concerned about the transfer station and some of the things that have happened over the past year. Some of it's hidden, some of it's suspect. Have you hired a consultant for the transfer station?
No,
Do you have a volunteer that's come forward to provide assistance to help with the transfer station?
had, and we do not.
You do not. So that non-public meeting, if you don't mind me asking, obviously you can decide not to answer. Did it have anything to do with the transfer station,
Yes,
and what was the result of that?
nothing.
And why was it non-public? It doesn't seem to meet the requirements of C, which are basically a member of the public that it may be information divulged that would be should not be divulged to a member of the public. It just doesn't seem to fit that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I hope you proceed slowly with this transfer station, clear plastic bags. Seems to be mirroring another town. The timing seems to be suspect. The number of people that came in during public comment and the number of emails that were sent to the board that was basically the foundation to move in that direction seemed to be suspect. Seemed like those people were invited in. There was reference made by Selectman Cahill at a meeting that you had solicited information at a public hearing to get information on changes to the transfer station. Well, I looked through that. There was a public hearing on fees schedule changes at the transfer station. Had nothing to do with clear plastic bags or any other changes. Yet you did get information, and it's suspect. Some of those emails that came in, I think there were 10. You said there were 20. You said there were 20. There were 10. And of those 10, 5 I think came in on the same day. It seems to me more than coincidence. It seems like they were solicited to send that information in. I hope you're not building the foundation for changes to the transfer station on selected individuals making comment. In addition to that, Mr. Chairman, you said at a meeting, I think it was in August, because a presentation of proposals were made when the public work director wasn't here, made a motion to change to clear plastic bags. And it was defeated. There was a motion made by Selectman Cahill.
It was defeated.
I didn't say it was passed. I said there was a motion made when the public works director was not here, not available. At that meeting, you said when the public works director came back, you would have a public hearing on clear plastic bags and changes 100% recycling. That never happened. Never happened.
Right.
So where do we stand with recycling? Where are we going? I wish you'd lay out a plan. The capital improvements program has a plan, developing a plan for facility improvements. Is that not sufficient? Could somebody just lay out a plan? You get you get a bit of information here in March of last year. You get it in April, then it comes up again, and then you hear nothing. Then you have a meeting, which you say you discussed the facilities and changes to the transfer station. You never made anybody aware of that. I mean, there was a notice given the prior meeting that the meeting was going to take place, but you're not giving any results. So just keep us informed. I'm not against improving recycling and program and making changes to the transfer station, but make it known, make it public, make it transparent. Thanks.
Tom?
I would just like to say something positive. As all of you know, I served as a selectman for 12 years. People served on the board with many different opinions. But I can say that in that 12-year period, I can never remember anyone making a suggestion that something be done behind the back of the public. The right to know law, that's why whenever you have a non-public, you state what it is as far as what part of 91A it is, and follow through. We always did that. There was never any deviousness about it. And I agree that the minutes should be done, but if you go back a few years, we had a minute taker who sat in on all the meetings and took minutes and got them out within a day or two. She eventually left for a higher paying job, I think in Henniker. And then we have had secretaries for the town administrator. So for quite a while, we were getting the minutes pretty quickly because the secretary actually followed up on YouTube and did the minutes that way with the input from the town administrator who was taking minutes as she is tonight. So, you're right. The law is the law. But on the other hand, we've had some real serious staffing shortages. So it's rationalized, I realize, but it's there. And it's something for us to face. We don't have a minute taker sitting here. Until recently, there was a gap with no secretary for the town administrator. So that's the reason behind it. It isn't somebody trying to be devious or trying to keep the public from knowing what's in the minutes. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. Bring us to department head committee items. I recognize Jason Fisk for quotes on the transfer station baler.
Jay, I sent most of it around. I did,
don't-
I sent it to everybody.
You did?
Yeah, but I don't have them included.
Thank you.
Oh.
So what you got there is basically a few options we have up at the transfer station to repair or replace our cardboard baler that is in pretty rough shape. Pretty much the goal here tonight, I would like to think if we get this done in the next week or two to make sure our guys are out of the weather for the most part and inside the building with a compactor that works, especially one that's safe to operate. So we got a couple quotes from both the companies we've been working with as of late, Atlantic Recycling and Recycle Mechanical. Give you guys a second to review some prices. And I went on New Hampshire the Beautiful this morning, didn't fill out the form, but they will cover up to 20% of any new equipment.
Purchases.
Yeah, it'll be an after the fact basis anyway, so once we make a decision, we can go ahead and fill that out, send that in. They get to them every couple months, so. After speaking with former employees up there and current employees, it's my recommendation that we go with the new one. And that new one being a Waste Quip 6030 HD. A couple people said that we had some problems with the PTRs, more than should be expected. I know that is up there on price compared to the PTR, just a couple $1,000s over. But with that grant, it should help us out quite a bit.
And just so everybody knows, we are down the one that is in the little hut that is out of service. They're using one that is outside. Actually, they're using both of them, aren't they? Or just one?
Mainly using one.
Mainly using one. But they gave us a quote to repair the one that is in the hut, and it's about $7,500 just in parts.
What's wrong with it, Jay?
The gate is busted. They're gonna have to build a custom gate. The threads on the cylinder are actually pulled out, so they're gonna have to source a whole new cylinder somewhere. It's obsolete at this point. The ram's busted beyond belief
Had a lot
now.
of use,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is the main unit.
Is this a unit big, gonna be taking care of everything then?
They're all comparable to the same size of machine we have. It's around the same bale weight, same bale size. They're all around 1,000 pounds bale weight.
Okay.
Same bale size.
I'm sure it's been discussed, but since it's my first night, where's the money coming from?
We had plans on taking it from the,
Transfer station equipment fund?
yeah, the,
Special revenue?
yeah.
Well, no, it was the transfer station equipment fund, right?
It's the one
Capital
we,
reserve fund?
capital reserve. It's the one you set,
It wasn't the SRF, I don't believe. It wasn't the revolving fund.
it's the one you set up for the
That's not
recycling.
Be special revenue. That's gotta be expended by voters, so.
Same one
The
we're,
one you set up for recycling. So it's the special revenue.
we voted on a couple years ago. All the recycling money, or half the recycling money moves into that fund.
That's be expended by voters.
Is that the special revenue fund?
Yeah. That has to be, that money has to be,
Expended by
is
the
part of.
voters.
by
Okay,
voters.
I thought it was coming out of the capital reserve fund, not the special revenue fund.
So do I, actually.
I was under that
Actually, same
understanding.
thing, isn't it? Well, same process.
Not the capital reserve.
No?
Not the capital reserve fund. No, special revenue fund, yes, but not
No,
capital
yeah.
reserve.
Well, against the bailiff, just
We
making
aren't
sure
tou-
we're
we
pulling
aren't-
the money
yeah.
from the right spot.
Yeah, we aren't touching that recycling money yet.
I can't mean my, must the voters do.
Right,
All
exactly.
right,
That's
correct.
still
forgive
being
me.
earmarked towards that big
What's that?
project.
I said forgive me then, I thought
No,
that was
no,
what we
the
were
Well,
doing.
that's fine, I was just curious, because I, first meeting, so I ain't been
Yep.
watching them, so I'm sorry.
Yep, yep.
I, get in the background, that's all.
How much do we have in that capital reserve fund? Do we know? I
Be
don't,
20% off this 14,950.
Up to.
Off to 18.
18,575.
18,575. The 18,575, so nobody's looking at.
Yeah,
So if you go to
first-
page
second
2, I
page.
think you gotta go to second page. There's 2 pages on that one. It's in this stuff, yeah.
Look at
which
the-
gets you
look
to
at the
this
account
number.
Page that we get
Well,
for
that's
like that.
1,800, yeah.
But no, the total comes to this. If you total everything up. It comes to that.
There is a little bit of cost savings on that quote. We have a trade-in and, an equipment rental of a forklift that they're gonna use, but the same deal. We had them, same thing with our compactor, they're gonna come out and repair it. We can eliminate that forklift rental on account we have one,
Right.
so. You're looking
Yeah.
at,
It'd drop it down some.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot, but a little bit.
no,
I mean, I know there's not a lot of value, but it is, the way that machine is built, it's very easy to move
yeah,
in comparison to the other one. It's pretty much set up. I also like the fact, did you look at the cut, and if you go 2 pages back, there's a cut on it, I think. Yeah. Everything on the other units up overhead, even to check hydraulic fluid, you gotta get to a ladder.
At the end of the year, there was 60,988.10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's why I was in the
Yeah.
assumption it was coming out of.
That's where it's
Which
coming
one are
from.
we talking? Special revenue?
No, that's
Transfer
a
station.
that's a transfer station capital reserve fund. Right.
Everything's overhead. Flip through.
Which I,
Fingers are so
we are the agents to expend that, correct?
The capital reserve fund, yeah.
Capital reserve fund, yes.
Yeah.
So it'd be about $3,600 off.
If we get that 20, the full 20, yeah. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't.
1,000, right?
And we're trading the old unit in?
I think it still does, yeah.
Which they're giving us what for?
I believe it was somewhere around the $750
$750.
mark.
Yep.
Yeah, it's in there.
Well, it gets close to being the CIP amount. I'm not gonna argue the need of baler, and that one's went up and down 1,000 times. Cardboard's your number one, you know, your only baled recyclable, but pushing the, guess the under 15,000 CIP, right?
Yeah.
Probably says in here, when can they get it to you, Jay?
Be about a month. Couple days for install, more than likely.
The install includes the electrical hookup and everything.
Yeah, they'll hook it up to the box that we already have existing there, so.
Now, the refurb V6030 HD is a waste quit model, right? It just does, it says it's a Marathon rather than a waste quit.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the model number is exactly the same, that's why I was.
Yeah, it's just different brand. They have same model number for some reason.
Okay.
Is the, which one are you using now?
Using the PTR, the one in the middle.
You have plans of going back and doing plastic anytime soon?
It was something we were gonna all have discussions about. We haven't got there yet.
Okay.
That was gonna be one of our work session topics coming up. But,
Obviously, that one's the only one under the roof because at the time it was the only baler they had.
Yep.
Plans was eventually to put everybody under a roof.
Yep.
My only question for that, reason to question that is if they can't swing it, can the one that's being used be put under that roof? For a year or so till we get a plan for a recycling facility.
Yeah, regardless, I mean, the front of the building or the back of the building's gotta come apart to get that one out.
Yeah, it
So-
was built around it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Dave Huey built it, so it's got a lot of nails in it.
you do that twice or you do it once.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
It's not argument of the need of it. It just
No, yeah, I mean, it could be done.
not gonna do plastic anytime soon. We got 2 balers and it's pushing the threshold of the CIP. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know how many man hours or what it would take at that point for us to do it, but you'd take,
I'm sure the install as far as sticking it in there isn't gonna be that much.
my only fear, Ben, is the fact is if the second one goes down, then we're down to 1. If that one they're using now goes down, we're down to 1. Then we can't do any cardboard. Well, we can, but it's just,
If what goes down to 1,
if we go down to 1 baler, we're already out of service with 1,
right?
and the other 2 are functioning, as they should,
Yeah.
but are they on bar, they haven't been used for a while.
No, they got 1,000,000 less hours on them.
Well, I'd like to hope so, because they weren't doing the cardboard, right, but,
So the CIP number that you're referring to is for the future,
it's a capital expense
Yeah.
of 15,000, that's the number that Dave established,
right?
so. What's the, is it, I didn't see, what's the warranty, difference between a refurb and a new?
we have,
6 months versus 1 year, by the looks of it.
I sent that over in the email, the
Okay.
warranty stuff for the reman PTR. The waste quip is, pretty much it is what it is.
Yep.
The PTR is a factory rebuild. The waste quip one is directly from Atlantic,
Okay,
essentially.
all right, so Atlantic rebuilt theirs.
Yeah.
PTR factory rebuilt the other
Yeah.
one. Okay.
The one you're proposing is brand new, it's not a rebuild.
Brand new, yeah. I mean, the one we've had lasted quite a while. This brand new one, whenever we get around to actually doing something with the transfer station is
Gonna be usable.
Gonna last.
Favorable for a new one than a rebuild.
Yeah, yeah, this one should last for a good
number of
long
years.
while.
Especially since there's that much difference between them.
Yeah.
I guess my only question was the threshold of the
CIP.
money and what the plan of the other two balers were, I guess, because not gonna do it, you got two decent ones. If you are, then you need a baler.
Well, there's been a lot, the people, that's the one thing they keep asking about, right? They keep asking about when plastic's coming back.
what I hear.
And 1 and 2 was what was in the discussions that were going on, is if it was gonna be an option, that would be it. So one of the balers would get tied up if that was the case, if we go back at all. But,
Well, if you did both, you'd have to use both of them.
yeah, and if we went, yeah, exactly, side by each, right? Because they don't let you mix 1 and 2.
No. you
No,
don't.
and that's kind of my thought is, we're,
We used to do 1 through 7, but that last time we got rid of a load of that, it cost us a half a penny a pound, so we quit doing that.
right, right.
And then when petroleum went down the tubes, then it wasn't really worth doing any of it, and the man hours was terrible. Now petroleum's up, and
Yeah, it's time, it's,
it's all a discussion for another time, but it ties into the use of the two balers that you have.
right.
You know, if plastic's a year down the road, can we deal with that and then do like a bigger thought of the whole thing and put them all under cover? Build a roof over all of them and.
Right, I think the only,
A piece of equipment's a piece of equipment though, right? If it's a 20-year lifespan on it? Yeah?
Yeah, probably. You know what year that one is? I should.
I don't, yeah, I'm off the top of my
That
head.
was the one I first started putting cardboard in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
at
that was a
least
day or two
20.
ago, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're 20 years down the road.
It's had a couple of rams. Them rams, for some reason,
Yeah.
on that particular baler
Don't last.
don't.
I guess my only thought is, again, if the town wants us to go back to recycling at some point, in the near future.
Talking about plastic?
Yes,
Yeah.
in the near future. So if we even tie up one of those balers, and one goes down, we've got nothing.
That was my point of the question.
Yep, no, I understand. And I just putting it out there, that's all. So, and I think that's a discussion that we're probably gonna have at one of our work sessions coming up soon, is the logistics of that, if we can even do it, so. But,
If you go through the cut sheets though on, between the two, I can see why the waste quick, there are some differences. If you go right down through the whole spec sheet, it is the way it's set up, it's much better too for maintenance. The other, I don't know why you don't have the cut sheet. I looked at them on the computer because I got this in an email. And the other equipment is all overhead. Rick, did you see it? On the $16,000 option,
it's all on the top.
all on top. Yeah, but there's no visual, just the controllers down on the side.
Okay.
So,
Well, we've heard quite a bit from the one side of the table, what the other side of the table?
I personally would go with the Atlantic recycling equipment, that 60/30 HD. You're gonna have it for 20 years, don't go get something rebuilt and then have a problem with it.
Like, as long as it's sized appropriately to put an investment in like that, then I have no issue.
You said up to 20%, what's that mean? I know what that means, but what determines that?
They determine it based on need and, just reading off what the website says,
Right.
what they judge on need, and just a quick rundown on the application. They ask for some sort of plan or some sort of direction on where the town is going with recycling. So
yeah, it's
we could put a nice little presentation
And I
together
think
for
you
them.
definitely can. I think the history of the NRA could
Yeah,
get you 20%, no doubt.
Yeah.
The number of pounds that place has moved over the years. And I'm definitely, if there's gonna be anything new there, cardboard bay ought to be it.
I guess is one I'd like to, I think you need to keep it under the 15 somehow, if we can do that. Hey, it's not a bad investment for the taxpayers. The cardboard's been one recycle, it's been worth money since always, and it always will be. It goes up and down, but, and everybody orders stuff online. One of my last days there, I went down and counted, and between Chewy and Amazon, something like 3/4 of the bales, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cardboard comes into that place, so I'm not against it. We just, I think you gotta keep it under 15 unless I'm incorrect on
It's under
that.
15. But so
I-
with the 20, it comes 1486, right?
Yeah, it's under the
Yeah,
15.
it's under that, and
If you
but,
get 20.
yeah, and that's without,
The
and
20
that's
is
without,
after the fact too as well.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta upfront
So,
purchase it,
yeah.
right.
so they won't, we can't fill the other thing that Jason just stopped mentioning is the money has to be allocated before they'll consider our application.
Yep.
Right.
And it's 20% up to $5,000, I believe. The max they
It's
give is
5K cap.
Is 5K cap. So we're at about $3,600, so we fit within that
That window.
window. So they go to 20 and then max out at 5, like we're buying a skid steer.
Mhm.
They're not gonna give us more than 5.
No,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so it's a simple one-page application, and we do fit in the criteria, and we haven't had an ask in, as long as the research I did a year ago, we haven't had an ask. So it isn't like we're knocking on the door every day. So there's likelihood, if
The likelihood
we
is good.
allocate the money, we'll get that match.
Yeah, the likelihood is good.
So, and we get it below the 15, which is the criteria you want at the before the trade-in, by the way. So it even gets us closer, puts us down to almost 14 even.
As long as we know that, then I'm,
Well, we can allocate the money, we have to have the allocated money proof before we can apply. So they won't
Yeah,
even
that's-
let
that's
us
the
make an
problem.
application unless they know the money's there. That's a stipulation. That's line 1 of the document.
And what were the issues with the PTRs? Just a question that you heard.
Said that the switches went bad a lot more than the other machines did, and it just had an all-around problem with the hydraulics.
Okay. And that's all, it's all we have up there right now is PTRs?
There's a PTR, and then there's another brand, I believe it might be a Wasteco or something along those lines.
so is it 1,200, is that from Rollingsford to here, or wherever it's built for shipping?
I believe that covers everything from wherever it is to them to here.
Yeah, wherever it lives to us. Yeah. It looks like that's from the factory. Oh. I mean, I'm in support of something that's gonna get us that 20-year mark, as what we have now has got us there.
I am too,
No, I don't disagree with
been
your
on his,
statement.
been on his side, I know,
Yeah,
I know what happens when, right? So,
yep,
I
no, I
just
don't
didn't know if
disagree
there's
with that.
anything you could do, Jay, to assure that, and then if we get the 20%, then, you know.
We're under.
You know, and I'm not trying to, you know, be silly and say 5 cents, but like the 1,800 to remove it, is that something you can do, or is there a lot more involved in that? 'Cause I didn't talk to him.
Our end is still trying to taking the back or the front of the building off so they can get in and out
And it
with the
says you gotta do
machine.
that anyway, right?
Yeah, that's our piece. I mean,
So the rest of the 1,800 is them taking the baler out?
them taking the baler out, hooking the electrical up.
Do we
Putting the
take
new-
the baler out, or is that just part of the deal?
That's just part of the deal. I mean, I'm sure we might be able to save a little bit of money if we unhooked it, took it out, and lagged a new one in, hooked it up.
Well, you'd have to hire an electrician when it comes to electric.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
That's why I didn't know what the 18, I quickly read it, it says, you know, to remove the existing baler would be 1,800, but.
Yeah, remove, and then it looks like, lag the new one down,
Yep.
demo it to the operators.
So if that doesn't involve the electrical work, then that's a pretty easy 1,800. If it does, then it's not saving nothing, because you're gonna have to hire your own electrical guy.
Right. Usually, I would think that these would be pretty good. They would say in the, quote, if you had to hire an outside vendor to come in and do that.
Atlantic will need to remove the existing Selco baler from location, install the new waste quip model 6030 vertical baler, lag to concrete floor and wire to existing disconnect. Demo the operation of the baler to operators. The town will need to remove front section of the building prior to arrival for existing Selco baler to be.
That 1800's installed in a new one too.
Yep.
Yep.
Everything.
I would agree. The way that's written, I think it's full in and out, minus the building removal. That's on us. So,
Would the
I'm not
expectation
against
be
the,
to,
oh, good, sorry, go ahead, Sam.
would the expectation be to put the building back afterwards with,
Yeah, we'd have to
like,
put the
as
building
is?
back.
Or is that gonna involve a further cost of new material?
minimal.
Minimal, yeah. As long as,
You're familiar with the building, right? Yeah.
Just making sure.
Going to Sanborn lumber, picking up some rough sawn,
Yeah.
throwing
Yeah,
it up
rough,
there.
rough sawn, toss it up there and double layer in it.
I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, you're right, yeah. I have to go to Henniker now. Yeah, so,
yeah, we
I'm not
take,
against you having the new baler, especially since it's cardboard. Would like to know that it's gonna be under the 15,000, so I'm not getting in trouble with somebody.
any other board members wanna weigh in?
Just, Rick, you remember in February 17th, you expended $35,000 from that 60 already,
Right, right.
so
What was that for?
That was for, to rehab the
compactor.
compact.
The
compactor.
compactor at the transfer station.
The actual trash
Oh,
compactor,
that's
right,
yeah.
Yeah.
right.
You still have enough money, it's just,
It's gonna put it, yeah,
Yeah.
lower, that's all. So,
Well, they're both necessities is the problem, so how do we get the number, we have to have it.
Well, unless they use one of the ones that they're using.
Yeah, but those are shaky at best too.
Uh-huh.
Those are, we can't get the lifespan, it's just sort of wait until that breaks, that's the way I feel about it.
Jay, the $600 that you have for the rental, that's included in the 18,575, right?
so that comes off
It's actually
the,
That'll come off the top.
17,975 is the number.
yeah, so it's even less, and then you get, if putting on the 20%,
Yeah, you're down to
It's-
14,
you're down to like
380.
14, yeah, 380, so you're actually, you're under it, again, if you get the 20%. But it's very likely we'll get the 20%.
Well, and we can't fill out the application until we.
Until we pay the purchase,
Yeah,
right.
so we have to at least say put the money towards it, then we can make the application, and we can see what happens with the application.
So it's actually under 18, it's actually 17,
9.
17.9, approximately, yeah, so. All right, I'll entertain a motion if there is one, on whatever route the board wants to take or not.
Well, I spent some time today looking through the email and based on the recommendation and based on, again, I'm not the equipment expert, but just accessibility to what runs that machine. The waste quip seems like a better machine overall. It gets within the budget, 20-year lifespan on it. So I make a motion that we dedicate the funds to make the application for the 20% grant of 18,575 or what,
17.9.
Well,
17,900?
17,975.
17,975. Do I have a second?
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. And that was for the waste quip 6030, and the funding source would be
Capital.
the transfer station
Yes.
capital reserve fund, equipment capital reserve fund. Okay. All right, motion on the floor, it's been seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? There it is. And would you like to, you got anything else?
Last thing.
Last
I
thing.
wasn't
Only
here.
two.
I wasn't, two.
There's only two things. You said last thing, it's only two.
I wasn't here last week. NRRA sent over a quote for hazardous waste day for us, for a vendor.
Yes.
Yes,
Is that something we're moving
Already
forward
did.
with?
yes.
If the minutes, we move forward with
Okay.
August 26th
All right,
for the fee of between 91 and 9,600.
perfect.
Who's doing it?
NRRA.
Who's the actual vendor to get it?
EPI?
What do they charge a day?
Estimated cost was around 9,000.
It's hard to find somebody.
Yeah, period, never mind.
I know.
I think the last time we were paid over 8.
Yeah, yeah, and that was 2 years ago, because we didn't do it last year.
No,
So
almost 3, I think.
Almost 3,
COVID.
yeah,
What'd you say, August what, 19th?
26.
Oh, 26.
Our last time we did it, the
What was it
price should
again?
be at the bottom of that sheet, Benji.
Is it at the bottom?
Should be there.
I only got halfway through. I just seen what they covered when they picked up.
Yep.
I just started reading. So, August 22nd.
It was August what?
Oh,
22nd?
I was just looking for the new one. August 26th is the
August
new one.
26th, okay.
So the setup fee's 2,600, which is about what they were, the other company was. And then $31 a unit. So the 9,600 is based on the number of units, which is all they can do.
Yeah, and they don't know what's gonna come down.
No, of course not.
And we've gone down there before and had shut it down at 10 o'clock in the morning, I mean, it is what it is, you can only take so much to let you prepare
Right,
for
well,
it.
that was what my question was gonna be, was are we gonna cap it at a number, or are we just gonna let them go?
No, I
That's
think
why it
we,
was
I
that
think
much
we gotta
last
cap
time.
it, I think we have to cap it at that 91.6 number.
Okay.
So,
I think,
you
yeah.
need this copy back?
No, I got an email, it's fine.
Okay.
Because it used to be that it was in a warrant article, X amount, right?
Right, and
We
that was
couldn't
the,
exceed it.
right,
And then we got voted to put it in the budget.
correct,
So that what people wouldn't get shut off.
correct. We had some flexibility at that point, rather than a hard number of, gotta shut it off now.
And I think, and I don't know if that needs to be decided tonight, but that needs to be decided because it's been so long, you're gonna have a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as we get closer, we can
And I
figure
hate
out.
turning people away.
Oh, it's horrible, yeah. Because you know that they've sat on it for a while and they're trying
The
to get rid
best
of it. so-
turnout I ever had was 2 of them, but we didn't realize till we did it that setup fee was the cost, you know.
Yeah,
It's actually a very reasonable setup fee compared, to previous events, but I guess just we'll have to decide if you're gonna cap it or not cap it. Well, good, I'm glad you found one. It's
Yeah.
not easy to do.
is that it?
That's all I got.
Would you like to discuss what was brought up in public comment?
Truck?
Yes.
Yep, so we had an accident. Truck almost drove over, through no fault of anybody's. The motor spun a bearing, threw a rod out the side of the block. After the incident, we were getting the headgear off, getting it ready to go get checked out through insurance and stuff like that. When the motor launched, so we had to get insurance down to take care of that. We got it quoted out. Truck's ready to go to the frame shop, body shop, and over to the mechanic shop to get done up, get ready for next winter.
Okay.
No one was hurt.
Nobody was hurt. No.
That's good. And most important, actually, accidents happen with equipment.
Yeah.
Obviously, the motor's the big part, was all the whole part of the insurance claim, the frame included in that?
Yeah, everything's in there.
I'm sure it was, I just wasn't part of it, that's all.
Yeah, T3.
Make sure insurance covered, obviously, it's gonna, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why we
You have
have,
to prep that,
that's why we have insurance.
you have to prep it for the frame. We took one once, and I had to cut the toe plate off, take dump body off, I didn't know if you had. to
No,
do that.
it's honestly not bad,
Okay.
the frame. So
It just
We
kind
gotta do
of
all
tweaked the
that
end of it, didn't
business
it?
anyway.
there's maybe a half inch of gap in between the frame and the dump body right now.
Oh,
So,
Yeah, so
Half of the dump trucks are in around New England.
yeah,
exactly.
My biggest concern with the truck at first, because the way it went over, there was a tree on the tailgate and there was a tree on the headgear. So the body was just able to
Right.
twist. That was a big concern. We took the headgear off. We were gonna bring it down to Patsy's, have them put it on their rack and measure the frame and make sure everything was good. In the process of that, we had an issue.
Yeah, no, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd heard the motor was gonna be done, I just wanna make sure the frame was part of it.
Yeah, it's all gonna get taken care of. The motor is obviously the biggest expense there, but, it's all insurance. That's why we pay insurance.
Right.
Absolutely. Oh, and I think Kevin hit the nail on the head, nobody was hurt, so I think that's the bigger ticket, so. All right, very good. Yep. We'll wait for you.
Jason, was there damage done to the other dump truck up on, by Dimitri's, the day of the snowstorm?
Nope,
I saw it hanging there when I went through.
nope, all good. We had a couple trucks that looked like
Hanging
that.
down like this in that ditch line,
Yep.
and the back tire was off, so it looked to me like it was getting twisted. I didn't know, but couldn't really tell because we had a police car doing a turn and another car coming up through, so I wasn't,
Nope.
I wasn't sitting there, wouldn't be able to sit, I had to stop. I just couldn't figure out what he was doing.
Yep, yeah,
Completely off the road, he was in that flat area
Yep.
before you go up the hill.
yeah, we had a pretty good wind burst come in, white out. It was, yeah,
He couldn't see.
couldn't see. Yeah, we had a couple trucks off the road.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
We were in
Dirt
recovery
was
mode
impossible.
quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, dirt was nearly impossible. I know I didn't like doing my driveway, never mind thinking you guys out there with, full of material.
Yeah,
I was just in a little Tahoe. so.
yeah. Big shout out to the crew. They did
Absolutely.
a spectacular job, especially staying up for 36 hours plowing snow.
Yeah.
Communication was great between police and fire
Yep.
as well with everything we had, wires, trees.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't just snow, it was wires, trees, everything else. So,
With the crew that we have, it
Yep.
it was an extraordinary feat.
what is your current staffing number right now, including yourself?
8
8? Okay. Today?
today.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got 2 retirees coming up, right?
Mhm.
And 1 more guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Do we know when, we'll know how the insurance rate was impacted?
So it doesn't really affect us per se, it's, it'll be next year. You'll feel it next year. And it also plays into the pool, how much of a risk you are of the pool, because it's
So
municipal.
that we know when
where
our
it's a
year
municipal.
begins or not.
Right, where it's a municipal, insurance, everybody kind of pools together, and whoever makes the ripple, for a better term, is the one that's gonna pay a little more than everybody else, so. Our insurance, Naomi, has been on the decline for the last couple of years, right? Yeah, so, and an event like this, it probably will maybe flatline, but it won't like it's gonna go up, so.
Good.
Very good.
Yeah, sorry, Jason, make
Thank
you
you,
wait
Jason.
on
Appreciate it.
on that. Thanks, good night.
Recognize Acting Chief Bob Richards for an update on the pager and utility pickup.
Okay, we'll go with the pages first. I had been talking with some other chiefs, some other departments, and some of them had gone off to a different, we use Motorola. Some of them had gone off to a different manufacturer of pager. I contacted them. They programmed one up, sent it up for us to use. I carried it for a week, and then I put it on the table and let everybody try it. Then after talking to several fire departments, they basically said, if you was gonna replace all of your pagers, think about it, so. I did get 3 prices. Typically the middle of the road price is where I wanna be at. It is $13,125 for 25 pages. That's replacing all the ones that we have. So the Board of Fire Wards tonight voted to go ahead with that quote.
And that was with the Motorola.
That's a Motorola 6, intrinsically safe with a case and an extra battery.
Okay.
They're $465 a piece.
Okay.
And I asked for the extra battery because
Yeah, we're gonna need
if
them.
we're, if we're out like we were the other night, you're gonna want an extra
We
battery.
don't want a spare battery.
So, I guess that's
Yeah,
that's
can't-
where we are with
Can't say
that.
it doesn't happen anymore, because it does.
So, any more questions on that?
Nope.
Okay.
The Board of Fire Wards the agents to expend that warrant article? I don't know, I'm asking. I don't know. Or do we have to expend it?
I think it's,
I don't know.
Say it's you guys.
I'm gonna say it is.
Well,
Okay.
but,
I don't know. I've really never even thought of that.
Well, I came here
But
for the
no,
ambulance and I
but
came
I'm
here for,
just-
it's all the same, that's all the same.
Same kitty.
It's all the same,
Pile of money,
yeah, it's
yeah.
all the same special revenue
it's coming
fund.
out of the special revenue fund.
Right.
We already went to town meeting.
But like Chief said, he's, every time a purchase has come up, it's come through here.
Yeah, because, and that's why he went from Board of Fire Wards to here.
So
I would say yes.
think we need to make a motion.
I think you do too.
So what was the number again?
465 each for 25.
That was a grand total number.
13,125.
13,125. I'll entertain a motion. I'll entertain a motion.
Do you want to take it, Sherry?
Oh, I don't care, you can do it.
Well, no, go, run with it.
He said, told me it was
Okay.
13,125. I'll make a motion that we expend $13,125 for 25 units Motorola, and it'll come out of the special revenue fund,
Who's the vendor?
R&R.
R&R.
Yep.
All right, is there a second?
Second,
Move and second, all in favor?
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? I'm gonna abstain. I'm a user. Directly. There's one on my hip right now.
They're not gonna give you one.
I hope not.
All right, so this is where it gets really complicated. I did contact all 3 vendors from the state bid process for the vehicle. One of them basically sent me an email saying that we don't even know if we can get you a truck. If we can order you one, we never know we don't know when it's coming. So I said, okay, thank you very much. They did send me an email that basically said that.
What vendor was that?
That was a Dodge.
Okay.
Is this a pickup truck?
This is a pickup truck, 1-ton, single rear wheel.
Is it cab or chassis or an actual pickup?
It's an actual pickup.
Okay.
Yeah, because you would have to order one of them. So I contacted the Chevrolet, and we talked about body, we talked about plow. They sent me a quote on a pickup truck. Didn't know if Chevrolet would pick up the order or not.
Wow.
And if they did, when we would ever get one. All the 23s are gone. No, we're talking kind of a state bid pickup, so we don't know when they're all gone. So contacted Ford. Ford said, we'll get back to you. And it was about a week later, they called me back and said, we found your truck. And I said, okay. I says, it's got to be kind of a state bid truck. And they sent me the sticker, and I looked at it, and I'm going like, it's black. So got to talk about either painting or wrapping. In the midst of all that, it disappeared. And he called me, when he called me and basically told me it disappeared, then he told me I have another truck that's red on the lot that's ready to go. It's got the plow on it already. I said, okay. He goes, it's more towards the state bid pickup. It's a little bit lifted up from that. So it's a 2022, but it's brand new, sitting on the lot. I went and looked at it today. It's gonna work fine. The only problem is, well, that's really not a problem. The body, they quoted me a price with the body. They contacted and got a body price.
but they don't want to get in, because the body's 30 to 40 weeks out. They don't want to put the money out and then, so I says, well, what if I pay for the pickup and then I deal with the body vendor? And they said, that would be great. So that's where we are today. The Firewoods felt comfortable that I had done all my homework, that they said, deal with the body vendor on the side yourself, and then get the pickup. Pay for the pickup, get that here, and then we'll order the body. So I called the body salesman today, said, hey, you're the one that's been dealing with the Ford dealer. So he goes, yeah. I says, well, it looks like you're going to be dealing with me from now on because they don't want to be in the middle of it. And I said, okay. I says, how do I guarantee that price at 40 weeks from now? And he said, if you give me a signed contract and a deposit, we will guarantee you the price.
Okay.
Other than that, he goes, I saw a 15% increase last year. I said, well, I'd rather not pay 15%.
Right.
If I don't have to. If all I got to do is hold it, give you a deposit and hold the price. So the total price, which the Firewoods was $75,935 for the pickup and the body together. I haven't got to the point where I bid out the upfit yet with the, transferring the radio, the light package, striping and all that
Right.
stuff.
Decals, yeah.
So I'm gonna do that.
But we gotta secure that truck.
Secure the truck, cause it's on the ground and he wants to get, he wants to get paid for it, so.
Right.
Can you give us a separate price for the truck and a separate
Yes,
price for the
I
body?
can do that.
Can, extended cab or a regular cab?
It's a regular cab,
Okay, gas or diesel?
gas.
Okay, just ask him.
Gee, Sherry.
Who's the dealer?
Boom.
Gravoni.
The plow and the pickup, $49,795.
The 350?
It's a 350, single rear wheel. Where was I going? And then the body is 26,140. So
It's a V-pop on it?
yes. Yep. The original one that he had talked about had the stainless plow, but this is the steel, same plow, only it's the steel.
Is it plow?
It's a V-plow. That's what we have now. I don't plow with it. The guys like it, so it's just. And it's already on the truck, so
Yeah.
it isn't like you,
You have to have it put on.
yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere.
So, all right, I'll entertain a motion on, the chief's 2 items,
And the money's coming out of where?
the special revenue
Special
fund.
revenue fund.
This is what was ordered on the vote, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And can someone remind me what that final amount was?
It was 105, wasn't it? That was the.
Yeah, 105 was the
was the
total
warrant
amount.
article, but it was an expend up to.
Yeah,
We still gotta do upfit.
Right, you still gotta do upfit,
Still
you
one
gotta
more
put the
price.
stripes on there like that, so, yeah. What was the body number again?
26,140.
Okay, and how much deposit did he want? He said?
didn't say.
Okay,
I'm off on Thursday, so I'm gonna try to
okay. All right,
get it signed. Can I sign that?
we can word the motion, yeah. All right, I'll entertain a motion, just make sure it's worded correctly.
I make a motion that we authorize Chief Richards to secure the Ford F-350 from Caponi at a sticker price of $49,475, is that right?
$795.
$49,795? I must have.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm gonna
7.
put my glasses on again, Jim. $49,795.
$795, along with securing the utility body from the separate vendor at $26,140. Chief Richards will be authorized to sign contractually on both of the items.
Funds to come from?
Funds to come from
Special revenue.
special revenue.
Is there a second?
Second.
Move
Before you
second.
vote, can I just,
Oh.
is that, both those numbers are 7511?
75935? Is that what you had?
75935 I wrote down.
Okay.
Don't come back and ask for any more.
That's later.
Sherry, my thought is always come back and tell you it's less.
Oh, I don't like spending money.
No,
All right, motion
I
on the
don't like
floor.
coming here to ask for it either, so.
Is it seconded? I think you seconded, it, right, Sherry?
I did.
Oh, Benji seconded. All right, all those in favor, aye? I'm going to abstain.
You're not gonna be allowed to drive it.
That's fine with me.
As long as somebody drives it.
That's right, as long as it gets there with the plow on it. We've used that plow a lot.
Okay, everything else is good, I guess.
You didn't come back today.
Hmm?
You didn't come back today.
No, it didn't get done today.
Can't be that good.
No, it's good.
Okay.
All set, Chief? Thank you,
Okay,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Now serving next chief. Recognize Chief Moore on grant,
The best for last again.
grant possibilities and ACO discussion.
So, during public comment about the elections, I did see a confused look. Since I was mentioned by name, would you like me to elaborate on the police department role? It's just yes or no. Be quick.
Be very quick.
Sure.
Just to let you know, so that Monday, I did speak to the moderator on the phone. We talked of two specific topics, whether just he wanted the police department to come by periodically, no detail, just on duty. And then I offered the use of the Tahoe to transport individuals who would like to vote and who couldn't get to the polls if we were able to get to them and not tied up. I had spoken with the town administrator prior to that. She agreed. So I relayed those two items to him and sent a follow-up email of those two items, no other items to the town administrator after that. That was on Monday. I have vast experience with tornadoes and hurricanes, significant events. We did not have a conversation regarding my input delaying the election. As I informed him, I would not feel comfortable offering that since that could constitute electioneering, in my view, unless I checked with the AG's office. He did follow up and check with the AG's office to say it wasn't electioneering, but again, I wouldn't offer an unsolicited opinion regarding postponing an election without being specifically asked. So that's what we discussed. But that was after the fact.
Okay,
Did anyone call?
that wasn't very quick.
Naomi, did you get any calls about people that couldn't make it to the voting? I mean, I saw a couple things on,
Well, there's no power here either, so kind of makes it hard to
oh.
field phone calls.
Yeah, you wouldn't have gotten them anyway.
No,
'Cause you- yeah.
because the phones are dead.
And yeah, I was specific with that to make sure that couldn't be construed as electioneering. I said that had to go through the moderator and he had to request that through us.
Yep, okay.
In my many visits to the new selectmen, standing out in the cold shivering all day.
Yes.
Historically. All right, next item, this is the Central New Hampshire SOU, which is Special Operations Unit. This is something I had added to my budget. They're going to have a meeting later this month to vote on adopting this. I was just seeing if there were any concerns, if the new personnel wanted us to expand on that real quick, just to give you a quick overview.
I read what your email was, I guess.
Okay.
Likewise.
Good? Everybody good with it, or? Okay. Very good. Moving on, ACO. I do plan on looking at ACO now that we're getting stable, and I see us being stable in the department for quite some time. I'm gonna do it a little different, just to let you, and this is just basically my direction. I'm gonna stage it in different abilities. Non-enforcement role, enforcement role, and then just dog sitting, taking dogs to the shelter. So it'd be, the early stage, middle stage, late stage, and there would be pay structures around that based on responsibility. So we'll get that going probably around the beginning of May, just to let you know.
Almost like a stipend per incident type thing?
No, I would like to see set hours every week. I think that was a big problem before we had the ACO who could justify coming in but would pop in all the time.
Okay.
Without direction, so we'll get on that when we get into May.
Be on call.
Yes, they would be on call for other messages.
Salem, you know what he's referring to, correct?
Yep. The ACO.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
A lot of times you get talking acronyms and
Yeah.
Yeah, just give me the high five and.
Yeah.
Next, we have grant opportunity.
Excuse me, back
Yes,
up
sir.
some. So are you giving us, this is sort of a sticky wicket for me, because when I drive by the pause van, and this is about the third time we've had a sort of a plan. We had a guy who was down the street.
Yeah, he didn't work out.
Yeah, but we can look forward to getting something firmed up by May?
Yes. Yes, that's the whole hiring process, advertising the process, sitting through interviews,
Okay.
hiring an individual and
So-
getting them going.
So the TA is gonna put that on her report. All right,
Locked in.
okay.
Okay.
Book it. Last thing is just ARPA funding. This is state funding tied to COVID-19. There's funding they're trying to use expeditiously. And this is just direction-wise. I'm not giving you final projects, but there's 3 areas I could think of where we could get grant funding. One is a drone. We have usually a couple incidents a year. Typically, it's a juvenile who's running away with their home. We've had them go away in a couple snowstorms. I got a hold of, and this is just for general information, I got a hold of Manchester's information on how they actually use the drone, and it's extremely thorough because you always hear about the privacy concerns. Every flight has to be logged along with a map of where it went. Every flight has to be recorded, so anybody would be able to review that. So if there are any complaints of, the police were flying the drone over my house to throw in the windows, guess what? It's recorded. You can go back and look at the footage of exactly what the person flying the drone saw. So
When you say anybody, that's public?
Yep. Yep. Unless it's something for a case where we need to restrict it, I have no problem showing it. I'm very transparent. And we could have a selectman designated to do so if you would like. Just throwing that out there. But, this is all policy and procedure and a PowerPoint on drone. I'm not presenting that now. Would you like us to put a packet together to try to purchase one? And then we can go through all the steps, the procedures and everything like that.
So does the town have to purchase it with a reimbursement from ARPA, or how does that work?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't even got that far. I was just seeing if there was direction.
I mean, I see that tool being, good for the department. Especially, because we've already kind of used it in a couple other applications, not town-owned, but, it did help. So I think that's a resource that definitely could be utilized by our department.
And I'll give you how it's defined as a resource. Search and rescue of missing, endangered, wanted persons, tactical overwatch for high-risk events, which we just used for Mountain Road, aerial photography video for mapping of crime scenes, motor vehicle crash scenes, which we had a fatality, that would have been good there. Fire scenes, the fire in Clough, that would have been great there because there was a wind and the fire was blowing, it covered a couple acres. Hazmat scenes, I'm not aware of any we've had, natural disasters, and training missions, so.
Yeah.
So it would be willing to be used in correlation with other departments, such as the fire, you just.
Oh, absolutely, yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a resource that would be easily deployed.
Okay.
If we had a couple of members that were trained up on it, obviously.
Yep.
It'd be easily deployed. I think it'd be a useful tool.
What's the price tag on it?
The one we're looking at is about $16,000, and it's fully funded through the grant.
Can you write
But
it?
not the maintenance and batteries.
Yeah, for 16
Well,
grand?
no, we can put in supplies for batteries and everything extra,
Well, think about it, if a little kid got lost in the woods or something,
yes,
or.
which we have had.
Does that have heat seeking on it?
Yes.
I'll see that.
And we did check with Primex. We don't have to change any insurance or get any insurance.
Okay.
Extra insurance on it. Currently, I did ask for a second opinion because it seemed like we would have to get something.
It's too good to be true.
It was. It was too good of a true to be answer. So we are double checking with that.
I would be in support of the.
When you opened the conversation, you said you had 2 or 3 recommendations?
Yes, that was one.
So is this either or is this?
No, they're all combined.
All right.
There's.
So I think I may be the only one. I'm a little bit more on a drone flying around is not quite rural character. I appreciate that you said right at the beginning that you'd be able to see flight logs, et cetera. But there's still something about it that turns me off a little bit. Yes, it would be valuable. It would be helpful to track people down. I would be curious how often that happens versus how often training needs to occur to actually, see
sure.
flying around.
Yeah, so this is just the initial, we'll go get information,
Yeah.
and then we'll have a much more detailed presentation
I'm just
for you
saying
later.
that so that that's.
Oh, no, I
where
get it.
I'm coming
I
from.
get the pulse of the community and how this might not be well received, so. it will be very transparent.
All right, thank
Can I
you.
add something? So, on another note, the Snowmobile Club had a young man, wander off into the woods. Freaked out, got lost, was gonna kill himself. Contacted one of our members that knew the trail system like the back of his hand. And the grandfather was urging us to go find him. It would have been an extremely useful tool.
Yeah.
It all worked out because the gentleman that walked the grandfather to him brought him right to him. But in a situation, if that person or someone that didn't have the intricate knowledge of the trail system, we could have had a real problem.
Well,
But
we had
I
the-
think, it was a great thing that, and we could, the Snowmobile Club partners with the fire department for rescues, it would be the same deal.
I think that there was a search in Clough that we had that was across the river,
On the hill, up on the.
yeah, where she broke her arm or something like that and couldn't move. That would have probably been perfect for that.
Or even the individual who lost her horse in Clough like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We could have helped search for
I
that.
think it has its place, but I
It
understand.
has,
what
it
he's
has its
talking
place,
about.
yeah,
Sure.
exactly. But like you said, I think
I
it's,
think a good question, if you could come up with some sort of idea, times used versus time amount to train, because.
Oh, there's
I'm
required
sure there's
training.
more coordinated people than me. My son had a cheap one. I couldn't fly that thing for nothing. So I'm sure there's a lot of hours learning how to fly that thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
16,000 is programmed, you don't have to really do much.
I just wanna make sure I ain't spending $100,000 a year to train and use
Right.
it twice, that's all.
right, yep. So-
It definitely, when you need one, I'm not gonna argue it'd be.
So I think the consensus interest is get information.
Will do. Second item, side-by-side, and this would be a two-seat side-by-side because it has to be narrow enough to get through the trail system. We already looked at that, the four-seater won't fit. We do get a lot of Farron Pond complaints. We do have a large trail system. We can get this with tracks. Hillsborough just got one where you can operate in the snow. From what I understand, the fire department already has a sled for something like this, so we could partner with that. But again, they have enough in the grant funding where we could get this fully funded. There's always concern, taxpayer expenses. We do the Clough State details where we're getting that money annually, so we can pay for insurance, maintenance, and repairs using that fund, because that's just sitting there. There'd be no taxpayer expense for this, to keep and maintain it. And it includes a trailer, too.
Right. My opinion on the side-by-side is I am not in favor of it for the fact of we are so short-staffed. If we were fully staffed and could, because regardless of, all right, incident is occurring, member has to go back to the station, hitch the trailer, kick the tires, make sure the lights are up, make sure the battery's charged, whatever, make sure it runs. How long has that been pulled away from boots on the ground, or could we just radio for, hey, mutual aid at Hillsborough went in, then you get the person down, then you gotta get unloaded, et cetera. It's just, to me, where we're so short-staffed, is that the right thing to do right now? I don't know.
So in that regard, this would actually be a tool which helps retain and attract people. In the past, where police departments had a detective, they've had an SRO, and they've had a dedicated canine officer. We don't have any of that. All we have is patrol right now.
Right.
So the more opportunities we have for them to enhance their skills and get them down into different areas, the better it would be to help us retain and attract people. There are other departments who come into Weare on behalf of Fish and Game grants to work details, which we can't do because we don't have the equipment.
Right.
So a lot of benefits to getting us side by side. We're behind the curve on that.
So is this something that you're gonna have a presentation for?
Yes. Yeah, this is just preliminary to, we'll get it going, we'll throw it together. It'll be quick. You'll probably see them within the next 2 weeks because they're trying to move on this very, very fast.
So I guess is the consensus of the board move forward on the side-by-side, at least for information?
Well, for presentation,
listen.
you're gonna have to do some more convincing with me on the side-by-side.
Okay. And if you have preliminary concerns, just let me know so we can address them when we get the actual presentation.
Right, it's the long-term part of it, when you gotta place it, all that, and what's the mutual aid? I don't know what your guys' mutual aid
Agreements.
agreements are with other towns that have them. You know what I mean? If you use that twice a year, is it something that Hillsborough could come right in and help us out with, or whoever has one? I don't even know who has one.
Right.
I guess, versus,
Where would you house it?
Oh, we're on the grant, we're putting it on a trailer, so it's sit on the trailer, ready to go. Our Tahoes are equipped to tow vehicles. So it's just a matter of hooking it up and taking it where we need it.
Enclosed or open trailer?
Open trailer. I'm pretty sure of that. I just saw the numbers, so I couldn't imagine this being an enclosed trailer.
What's your number?
Well,
Do you remember
A
that?
little bit over $3,000 for the trailer. Yeah,
That's-
I didn't think
I'm not
so.
a big fan of anything sitting in the weather, but that's me. So, just as that more of a curiosity and just ignorance, so we get the grant, we get the side-by-side in the trailer. I read your email, I think $45,000 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So once we take possession of this, which some people would consider a toy, by the way, how long do we have to hold on to it before we can sell it?
Oh, I'll figure out all that information when I do the presentation. We'll have everything.
You wanna sell it, and we haven't even got it.
Well, if we get it, I want to know when I can sell it.
The other thing you might want to ask, and
$45,000
And it-
asset.
just when you ask that question, the snowmobile clubs are familiar with grant and aid. And if you use a piece of equipment to do the trails in the winter, you have to keep it for X amount of years, or part of your sales goes back to the state when you're done.
Okay.
Yeah, just curious. I don't think
Yep.
they're handing that out because.
No, I'll get it.
Just here's a free ride, no pun intended.
Yeah,
I
that's all
think
good.
if, I think you get multiple points too in any grant award if you can make it multi-department.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The
Sure it
fire
did.
department,
Yeah.
definitely they could partner with the fire department.
Fire and rescue.
I would see them, you needing to use it for them as much as anybody in accident on a snowmobile. I mean, I know I helped lug someone off Everett Lake years ago because they didn't have a snowmobile, but
Right.
I'd like to see a presentation.
Yep. Last thing, generators for the radio system. So we're pretty sure we can write up the generators for the current radio system, get it on this grant, which would free up about $18,000 on the other grant.
Yeah, definitely. That one.
So, before we put the cart before the horse, where were we at with the ones that Vizina got?
I don't,
Or did
I'd have to
did that
fir-
sunset?
I don't know that, I'd have to look before I'm gonna say.
I gotta say, I think that might have sunset at this point.
We talked about it, there was
Right,
another
we approved him.
opportunity.
I know we approved him to do it,
Right, but I don't know that,
but I think
Played
that
out.
it probably sunset.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, again, I know that Chief
can check on
Vizina,
that,
before
though.
he left, we approved for something. It was generators. I don't know where the source was. I don't know how, I don't know if it was for the stations. I think at the time, we were in preliminary discussions of the radio system of 2 towers being established on the stations. And that was going to be, the generator was gonna run that, and we were gonna take the generator off the cost. I don't know where that ran off to.
Okay.
How big is this generator you're looking at?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't even know?
It's
Yeah, this is just general direction so I can
Direction,
get
yeah.
information.
I would say definitely get the information.
Okay.
Yeah, and potentially, obviously that would be, I mean, depending on what funding is available, it may not hurt to see if we can get it for the fire stations too, if it's all, if it's all one big grant, I don't know. I don't know if
It's
it's.
pretty substantial
if there's
amount
only
left that they,
3 that they would, the 3 sites, which to me would be, East Ware be into that anyways, because that's where the equipment's gonna be in. But, just a thought.
okay.
It wouldn't be bad for the one out there.
Out
also.
here too, yeah. I mean, we appropriate the money, but if we can go in for the town offices too, that'd be great.
Okay.
We need one.
Yeah, but we've gotta have this whole building sized to see what we need.
No, we already, we have it
There's already a
It's all-
sub-panel and everything down
Everything's all done.
Yeah.
Switch gears over
Yeah,
there.
but you have to know what size generator you're gonna have, because you don't know what your usage is.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to take a look and see what size it
You have
is.
to have an electrician come in and do all of that.
We'll have to take a look and see what size it is.
Well, we know which size the one that was doing it prior, that's just disabled right now.
Yeah, it's just broken.
How big was it?
Any other ideas?
AW.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Donated 14 and-
That's all I got. But yeah, definitely pursue that one.
All right. Very
And let-
good.
And let us know if there's a cap on how many we can get.
I think they still have
I
it.
don't think there is.
Okay.
She's
Generator
gotta be
six
tied into COVID, and I've already figured out how to tie it in for here.
And radios.
easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very
All
good.
right. Thank
Anything
you.
else for the chief?
No, thank you, chief.
Thank you, chief.
Thanks for
Appreciate
your
it.
patience.
All right, brings us to select committee for representation. So this is where the ex officio seats come into play. There is an ex officio for park, for planning board, stone fund, CIP. Which one am I missing? I think I'm missing one, aren't I? No, maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I got them all.
No.
All right. So this is where we usually, take the, so it's a member of our board sitting on another board, basically to fill a seat, that they would not be able to fill. Initially, it was that, but it has another merit where, the member that sits on that board can bring back information as far as what was discussed, what's in the pipeline, and bring it to this board just for, to make us aware and make the public aware that doesn't watch those meetings, so. I've been on the Stone Fund for the last 3 years, and I'd like to stay there, for consistency. They made, multiple comments. We don't meet very often, but I've made every meeting, so they like that, where the other ex officios, they said for years, we're not making those meetings, so. But that's just me. So, that still leaves park planning, and CIP.
I'm, just for transparency, yeah.
Oh, conservation, that's right, conservation has one too.
Conservation, but it's not
Oh, conservation does not have one.
necessary.
No, you're on it because, yeah, you signed up for it, right, exactly.
I think it was one of the committees that dissolved, like the agricultural. or something.
Agriculture, or, yeah, or the 250th or something, yeah.
So, for transparency, I spoke to the chair. We have a project, the board has a project that a certain amount of work's going to have to happen prior to us getting onto it, and it's a maintenance program for all our buildings. We've realized that equipment, we don't have maintenance plan. Our boiler this year, we
Anything.
realized. So I've been involved in that thus far and would like to continue to stay with that as a focus, but I won't have time to do that and sit ex officio on any committee. So I asked Ricky just to consider that when trying to make these appointments.
I don't,
have used my construction background experience to help out on other projects similar to this. So if the other board members agree,
Who are you making the maintenance programs with?
oh, well, basically, we need to get on service and maintenance program, actually what needs to be maintained.
'Cause we don't have one, period.
We don't know. I mean, we discovered we have a water filtration system under the stairs during the blackout over Christmas that we didn't realize was there and that needed to be serviced. We realized that we had
Was that
multiple
here?
issues with the
That's here.
boilers.
You
It's
get
here.
serviced once a year.
Well, we
I
don't-
just was wondering, who do you work with? Because there's different
Yeah,
departments.
believe me, we're not gonna go, we basically need to get it all into one book to start with, and then decide who's actually gonna do that maintenance. But if we ask right now, we don't get a straight answer. We don't have it in a defined spot.
right.
So that is really what the task is. So for instance, we have multiple pieces of heating and ventilating and air conditioning equipment. They're all been installed by separate vendors with no consistent maintenance program. We have the old town hall boiler over there that I can't ask anyone in this room or any employee of the town when the last time that boiler was serviced. So we realized at Christmas time, for instance, when we had a blackout, that we have a generator sitting outside that hadn't been maintained in years.
And it doesn't
So-
run.
And has no history that can be found anywhere, so it actually wasn't functioning. So we had to jump through hoops and spend Christmas weekend here refueling a 1-quart old beat-up generator that belonged to the town that we had to cob up. So that's the reason for it. It's not gonna go, the concept has to be established, how it's gonna be, and then presented to the board if we're gonna get specific vendors, or put it out to bid to maintain HVAC equipment.
Right,
So
okay. So
it's a year
your
out.
plan is to put that plan together, I guess. Because there is supposed to be people for some of them probably not, like the generator, I never known that thing to run here, and it should have one here.
Yeah, and,
The water filtration system down there, that falls on the person that's in charge of the drinking water.
right.
I would think that, because.
But, I mean, we've also,
there's, I don't know what you,
right.
the generator, some departments, the department head should be overlooking their generator, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Highways had theirs done, the sewer station had theirs done, I believe. The fire did theirs, I believe, not positive.
Well, we'll know yes or no to all those questions once we
Well, I think
head down this road. And the board is going to have to be in one of our working sessions, but right now, there's not even,
There's no clue.
we can't open a book. We can't say, okay, this is what's at DPW, this is how DPW is being handled.
And these are the items that need to be addressed at
It
the
might be,
DPW.
it might be something you're familiar with because your history at DPW, but right now, you're not at DPW and no one knows what you know.
Until you sat on this board, right? So,
That's our
same with
problem.
the fire
pretty much-
station.
That's pretty much our problem.
I mean, a couple weeks ago, we just had this issue where there was barely any hot water. And come to find out it was because we had to back flush the system, et cetera, that we really didn't know about. But if that was in like almost like a handbook of, hey, every year you need to have this done, it wouldn't matter who your department head is, it wouldn't matter whatever.
It's also so the town administrator can open it up in a minute, know where to go
Right.
and who to call.
But this was a perfect example out back. Nobody even knew.
We were 2 days into the blackout that we were walking out to see if they'd cleared what was causing the thing. And we scratched our head, why is there a propane tank here?
Yeah, we're running on oil here. Why is there a propane tank? We didn't even know.
And
So,
then all of a sudden we started looking around and going, wait. And
Again.
then we went down in the basement
They found the transfer switch.
and we found the transfer switch and all the gear. And the thing's been idle for years,
Since Chip's been here.
for years.
Yeah. So,
And we lost, I mean, this is a perfect example of why this is so important. We had the town hall shut down 2 days this week, unusable,
No
and
power.
had to pay salaries when the building could have been up and running.
Town office,
right. And the other thing is too, is there's no entry unless it's
So,
Naomi or me. when
Someone
there's
else
no
is
power
gonna
here.
have to pick this up, and if they'd be glad to, I'll sit on Park.
No, I didn't know what the plan was, and I feel that I don't know I don't know what the plan is, right? Some of it should fall up on certain department heads, maybe some of it.
Of course, you have to meet with all of them.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they'll play a vital role in that of, but it will be, oh yeah, we gotta do the furnace, all right, jot that down, put it in a
It's
manual
been
of,
very well known that there's no generator here. We've been trying to get one for years. Doesn't mean that,
well, there's one physically here, it just doesn't
yeah, but it's
run.
never worked. but,
run.
This doesn't run, right?
I mean,
Is it
it's not,
repairable?
not a secret.
Well, we appropriated, we earmarked out money to replace it with a system.
Oh,
So, I mean, it's in the works, it's just, if we don't know to look at it, I didn't know there was one out there, I've been here for 8 years.
Yeah, so that's
So
not
that's,
quite true,
you know,
that
that's-
statement.
And I think it's more,
He didn't know it was there, because I spent the weekend with him over Christmas,
Yeah.
and 8 years in, and he didn't know the thing was sitting there, or we would've tried to start it.
right.
But
So-
there was no propane
There's
in
no
the
propane in
tank.
the tank at all. But it's to make a manual of, here's the town office, these are what need to be checked. And I think but it's gonna involve all the department heads, it's gonna involve anybody that's worked on anything in this town. Just to say, yep, this is what the recommended interval is type thing, but it's gonna be a
I guess if
manual.
everybody's involved in it,
Yeah.
that's my worry, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
I
gonna,
don't wanna be one person, cause it's multiple departments.
no, I think, it's gonna involve the department heads. When we get to their building, what do you do, what do you need, et cetera.
Step one is to get the list.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what do we have here? Like, we got a Beckett boiler of a certain size downstairs. We have X number of Mitsubishi units.
Yeah.
We
We've
have
got,
other types of HVAC equipment. None of them right now are on a defined maintenance program.
well, the mini splits, before we replaced them, we had a guy come in and, they weren't working, we had shut them down, and it was because they weren't in service. The guy serviced them up and they started working, pretty good.
We just had the same thing
So-
happen with our radio system.
Well, yeah, that's a topic for a work session, I've got it written down, so.
Yeah.
Alright, well,
But-
I guess we'll pick the Xficios then, huh?
Yeah, I think
I mean,
that's,
it's not something that, it's just something that we got started on, and now the board has changed.
Yeah.
And it's whether I just dedicate the time now to get it, similar to writing the job descriptions, to get us started. That's all it's gonna be, is creating a general roadmap. And here we go. And we'll have to do it in working sessions.
yeah, and that's why we're having these working sessions, that's why we move forward with those. And I think there was merit in the last one that we had, so.
Naomi, how
You're
many,
familiar with
how
that,
many
right? what we're doing?
How much
Every Monday?
effort is there
Yeah,
to
I've heard
put
of it,
into
yeah.
that CIP committee?
Well, it's during the morning.
Read the agenda for
Yeah.
this Monday's.
It's done
And it's what, couple of months worth?
probably 6 to 8 weeks, yeah.
Weeks, yeah. I mean, I'd be happy to do that where I'm doing conservation too, and I know that's not a something that absolutely has to be done, but
Okay.
I think it's a good idea, and if I could do both of them, I'd be happy to do both. If somebody else wants to take over planning, because I've been on planning now for a couple of years.
Okay.
Plannings are second and fourth Thursday nights.
Right. I can't physically make CIP anyway, so.
I was gonna say, I would've done that, but that's fine. I'd just as soon not do planning. I'd be happy to do a rec or
Okay.
park, whatever.
Okay.
But
I think if I had to choose one, I'd also choose Park. Just,
how often are the planning ones doing?
Second and fourth Thursdays.
As needed, right? They don't meet,
What's that?
they meet everyone?
Just about.
They
And then
didn't meet in
the office-
February, they didn't have anything.
Yeah, but
Right.
that's the first time since I've been on. They've canceled.
Okay.
But they also, in between, every other time, a lot of times we'll have a site walk to do. We have to
Right.
go out for site walk.
Right.
It's gonna be tough for me, but.
so can we just spell all these out? Just, because right now I've got planning, second and fourth Thursday night, CIP,
CIP starts in August, and we're usually done, we start at the end of August. We're usually done probably, we try to be done about the second week in October, but they meet at 8:30 a.m. on a Wednesday morning.
And I'll do conservation too, not that it's absolutely necessary, but
Yeah, it's
I've been
not,
sitting on it for a long time.
right, it's not an ex officio seat, but it's definitely handy information to have.
Parks and Rec meets the second Tuesday night of the month, starting at 7. They meet once a month.
again, if I had to choose one, I'd choose that one because that's something that my family uses and kind of have a bit of a vested interest. But if it's what works for your schedule, we can.
No, so that's Tuesday night? Tuesday nights?
Second
Second
Tuesday.
Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with you doing rec. Tuesday nights are the worst night of the week for me. But,
So
I
the
mean, if
plan-
there's one left over and we can do it, I'll take it. I guess I just can't promise I can get to them all, and I think that's unfair to do
Right.
that.
Right.
So the planning board, the second Tuesday is typically a work session.
Plan it? Thursday or Tuesday? Yeah, okay.
Thursday. And then the fourth Thursday is if they have hearings.
Business.
So you'd have to apply for the lot line subdivisions, things like that.
So if you had to make one, it'd probably make the,
The work session, you know,
what are they working on right now? Do you know?
well, yeah, I was successful in getting the Invest NH $25,000 grant to rewrite chapters of the master plan.
Oh.
So we're gonna start working on that. That was through the grant of Invest NH. We got the award letter, but we also applied for it, and it's up to $25,000 to do several chapters of the 17-year-old master plan.
Well, I guess that's the only one left, right? So I guess I'll take it. It's
Yeah, make what you
20
can.
for,
Yeah, make what you can. I mean, we have our EMS trainings on Thursday nights.
So, Stone,
Yep.
planning, CIP, park, and you're gonna do the maintenance?
Yep.
is that gonna be every Thursday night?
No, but I can honestly say I've logged as many hours as,
As planning, yeah. Okay. All right, brings us to the manifest. So, those things that we signed in the box, we still have to move and approve, so. Gonna order the treasurer to sign payroll and accounts payables checks dated March 23rd, 2023 is including the following manifest. The payroll manifest is $77,835.15 a week of payroll. Accounts payable of $81,787.37. John Stark, 250, Weare School District, 400,000, for a total of $809,622.52. Is there a second?
second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. And it goes to Naomi.
Is that all 5?
Yes. Believe it was. That brings us to the minutes.
Where do you wanna go with?
Well, I had to download them at my house so I could actually get them. Oops, come back here, you. Let's start with the oldest, which I think was
September 19th.
September 19th. I don't have those downloaded. Let me see if I can go find them. Oh, I got them, look at that. All right, page 1,
So,
September
so
19th.
everyone understands what, do you know
Yeah,
what we're doing?
so-
Have you looked at the minutes that were posted?
So we had some
Well,
minutes that were posted, yeah.
They wouldn't probably vote.
They wouldn't vote anyways, they weren't here, they'd have to abstain.
Okay.
Right, so just be the
All right.
3 of us voting.
Do you understand what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, just reviewing and approving, yep, okay. Page 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. And 7. Move to approve the September 19th meeting minutes as written. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Yes. Abstentions? 2.
Oh, yes, yes.
Next one would have been what?
9/26.
Page 1. You're mentioning this one.
Oh, yeah?
Page 2. 3. 4. 5. And 6. Then move to approve the September 26 meeting minutes as written. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Abstentions?
Yep.
2. And then we move on to the October ones?
Nope,
No?
now you're gonna hop around a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I did download that one.
February,
Okay, 13th?
no, for some reason I didn't print them.
I think it's the
Okay, go ahead.
13th.
You had a 13th and you had a 17th.
Correct, yep.
Yeah.
Page 1. 2. 3. That was there. Move to approve the meeting minutes as written. Is there a second?
Second.
Question before we call a vote. Sherry was absent, and obviously these two gentlemen were not here. Is it just the
You 2-1-2.
2-1-2? Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Nothing you can do.
Yeah. Call a vote. All those in favor, yes?
Actually,
Yes.
2-3.
Yeah. And abstentions?
Abstention.
Yep.
3.
Can you confirm what date that was?
2/13.
Thank you.
2/17. Page 1. 2. And 3. Going to move to approve the meeting minutes from February 17th as written. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Abstentions?
Yep.
All right, 3-6, I believe it is,
Mm-hmm.
which was yeah. Page 1. 2. 3. And 4. Move to approve the March 6th meeting minutes as written. Is there a second? Move and second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Now I got 313. Page 1. 2. And 3. Move to approve the March 13th meeting minutes as written.
Second.
Move and second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. I think that's all we had, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Before you do, the report, there's a couple things I just need you guys to do.
Yep.
Our new phone system, that we put in, we always had a contract with Granite State Communications for them. It's a 60-month contract for the new system. There's one, well, they've typed my name on the bottom, but I asked Beth to make sure, and these are the budgeted numbers. So, if you wanna take a peek at it,
Confirm they were.
yeah, she confirmed that they were, cause there's one signature.
Okay, and we approved that last year?
Last year it was all installed, but our agreement
right.
but our agreement expired January 1st, and then we had the new system put in, and now
Right.
they're running it from April 1st to April 1st.
Okay.
But it's a 60-year.
60 year, wow. I bet they'll expire by then.
We'll all be expired by then.
I know I will be.
And then the next one, Ricky, is something that are you still a board fire warden?
Yeah, I'm a
So-
deputy,
I got this from the fire department, and every year we have to reappoint, fire wardens.
yeah.
So
I
if
think I'm on the list, hopefully.
this came,
Who didn't know about it?
you are on the list,
There I are.
so this,
Speaking of which, I gotta go do one of them trainings again.
hang on, sorry. The chief brought it over. Oh, so this, has 3 spaces.
Just like
The chairman, the mayor, the city manager, and 2 selectmen, but the chairman can be of the board. And this just reappoints those that are on this list that are fire wardens, which have been looked at, by
by
Chief.
the warden.
Chief Richards.
Yeah,
He has signed the top one as the forest fire warden.
he is the warden.
So if you guys wanna look at it, it just requires 3 signatures, not a motion, cause it takes 3 of you. The other one would require a motion for me to sign.
It's in hand. I'm gonna move that we allow the town administrator to sign the contract with Granite State Communications for a 60-month contract term, to begin April of '23, for the phone system that this board already agreed to in the previous meeting. Is there a second? Move and second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And then I will get to my report, I believe. Yes. So, on the, I guess when I get to the first one, I just wanna, right now, we're on hold till the DPW and the fire chief positions are filled. Just wanna,
For joint loss.
the joint loss one, and I just wanna give you an update, for those, you came in at the end. The fire chief, vacancy is being looked at. And they contracted with MRI. We had the advertisement, we got 6 applications, 5 from New Hampshire, 1 from Mass. So what their plan is they're gonna take all 6 applications, and this week they're gonna rank them according to their stuff that they supplied. Next week, they're going to open source, meaning open source background check, which means they'll go out on Facebook, they'll go out on Twitter, they'll go out on all these open, and they'll make sure that there's nothing there. And then the following week after that, they're gonna do, not phone interviews, but like a web interview with him.
Yeah, like a Zoom meeting
Yeah,
almost.
and then what will happen is after they're done with the 6, there has a pre-meeting scheduled for April 11th, which is Tuesday, for non-public for the Board of Fire Awards to be able to interview the top 3. And then after that, hopefully we can have a successful candidate, and maybe by mid-May on Memorial Day, we'll have a new chief on board. So I just wanted to give you, it's been on here for a while, and, you know, we're still working on the DPW as we worked on the job description. That also has been forwarded over. Both the town administrator and the job description has been forwarded over just for legal review.
You guys have that handy?
I can email you both one.
Which would be the
Well,
one?
the one that
I
we
must have-
changed, yeah, but we made changes.
Yeah, we made some changes.
Because I can send the changed one of both of them to these guys.
You
I
wanna-
just wonder what job descriptions are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the ones we worked on last
Yeah,
week, yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
ones that I have would be drafts.
Yeah, they're drafts and
Yeah.
they're pretty choppy because we went through quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what I can do is, there were some changes made, Benji, that, and so I really put draft across the middle of both of them before they went off to be looked at legally, because that was the direction. Nothing's been approved yet, but we made some changes and then sent it off to make sure we weren't crossing over boundaries.
Yep.
So I'll get you guys both one.
Okay.
Yeah, and the board hasn't voted, it's just, we just kinda went through it, chopped it up a little bit. I know
Yeah.
Kevin spent some time making the town administrator one from different town ones that he had gathered up, and kinda just consensus pooled them together and put it in there, and then we hashed it out. And
Same
so,
thing with the DPW
okay,
responsibilities. Keep in mind that when you look at these, that these are the job descriptions, not it isn't an advertisement to fill a position.
correct, it's just, yeah, the
This
day to
is-
day.
So what was missing again, we weren't doing regular job reviews. The process had broken down over the years. When we decided, okay, we're gonna get back to this, we went to look at what we had for job descriptions, because how can we do the review without knowing what the person's supposed to be doing or accountable for?
Right.
They were so outdated that we needed to redraft.
Yeah,
And so we've gotten two done, which is the town administrator and DPW. Those drafts, just to make sure. I don't think that the lawyer's gonna have anything to say. I think it's gonna be a real quick read, take it back. We didn't ask anything that could be,
No.
whatever.
but it's not final copy, it's still,
Exactly.
it's something that we hashed out.
You guys
It's
will
gotta
be
go to
involved,
legal.
you guys will be
You
involved
guys will
in,
definitely be involved in both of them, it's not a closed case.
we're still at
all.
draft.
We're still at
on
draft,
both of
very
those.
draft, right.
Okay.
But that's kind of the topic of these work sessions we wanna do is, you
Yeah.
know, obviously, we have business conduct of the town, that would be
That's gonna-
tonight.
yeah,
And then
and-
the work sessions, we can actually, you know, get in the nitty gritty and
Right.
do that. And we kinda cap them at, what do we say,
2 hours.
two and a half hours, just because there's a lot of information being gone, and at that point in time, we're really just kinda all, you know, nodding off, so. But,
Right.
just wanna make sure it's effective.
But then, when it arrives in your email, you know, you probably get the draft back in the email, is, again, make comments so that we can start to expedite this, because we were actually supposed to perform the performance reviews in November,
Correct,
so here we are,
right.
okay?
Big wheel turns slow. But one caution on emails is, again, if the town administrator may email us as board members, when we says board members, it goes to all 5 of us. But limit the response to that board members,
Or directly back to TA.
directly back to the town
If you can
administrator,
get- I mean, if you needed a question, you just singly ask me.
singly to
You
her,
need,
right.
just like it always done.
The reason for that is if we email as a group, it becomes a quorum,
It constitutes a meeting, so.
right?
yeah.
We have to avoid
And not
that.
to say we're trying to hide anything, because we're not, it's just, we don't need.
On occasion,
Good
people,
share of the
we don't
time
need
I
that
don't
step.
ask for your response,
Yeah.
but if,
No. Does that have 3 signatures on it? I don't know if it does or not.
and on occasion, people do make mistakes, you know, and they write back thanks, and the thanks goes to all of us, but it should try to be,
I think it said 2 selectmen and then the chair.
Yeah, I
you
can't sign
can't
it.
though, someone will have to fill that spot.
It just needs 3 signatures.
So the radio communication, Chief Moore and I talked briefly, and I think the next step is they're gonna do a balloon test.
Okay.
Yeah, so what they're gonna do is, anybody familiar with how the balloon test works? They did it with cell towers.
Yeah.
So what they're gonna do is they're gonna raise a balloon on a string
Yeah,
about the height of where it's gonna be, and then they're gonna do some testing.
yeah.
You'll see what it looks like, how tall, that would be the top of the tower. And then, I'm not sure how they're gonna test its capabilities, but that was the next move, is to go over to the East Weare station and fly the balloon. Yep.
No, one of the meetings I watched the video of, it would have been months ago, y'all talked about reaching out to the community when these towers are going up, and I think that would be a helpful thing if you let people know, hey, we're doing the balloon test, so you will be able to visualize.
Yeah,
You
the,
know.
the chief and the officers did go out to the remote, because there's only one tower the town is proposing to put up, and that's at the East Ware Fire Station. Other ones are gonna be on cell towers, so it's a moot point. But he did visit, basically anybody in visibility range of that. There was one resident he did not, just because of previous history, but they were all receptive of it. So he did, and there was a form that they had that checked, to say, hey, so to make sure that they had all the points of where we're gonna be, why we're doing this, what it may look like. They had a picture of a tower a similar constructed tower that our vendor had put up, and they were all receptive of it.
Yeah, I know at the time you said it would be good outreach, and
Yeah.
it seemed like another opportunity to say, hey, we are doing this, you can actually see something in the sky.
Right, yep,
So-
yeah, might not hurt.
I don't
drop a
know
line.
when, but that's what Chief and I more talked about as far as our next step with that program. I'm going to finalize, the forester and the custodial contracts. Custodial, you already put out the bid. You awarded them. I just need to get her to sign it, but she's here at night when I'm not here. But I'll catch her during the day. Collins Cemetery, just for you to know, Benji's aware of it. It's over by Reservoir Drive. Old cemetery was a private cemetery. Now they want the town to kind of
Take it over.
There's a lot to do with that. Requires notification of abandonment and all these other things through RSA. Not a high priority at the moment. It's kind of when fill-in, because we don't do any burials over there.
Right.
So that's going to, as it says, as time allows, which asbestos testing. So we took ownership in November of the Barden property, and then we have Buzzell Hill down by the River Road Bridge. Both of those came back that they contain asbestos. The Conservation Commission at their last meeting, there is a list of asbestos abatement contractors on the state website. I have found that. We're just going to see if we can get some prices to. It's not a lot of asbestos, but it still has to be.
It still has to be abated.
Contained, right,
Right.
and abated. The driveway bond policy, Benji, remember that? It was that one paragraph. We just have to finish that, because in the winter when people can't pave their driveways, they still need a CO, and we need to have some assurance that they're going to pave their driveways when they're done.
I didn't realize that wasn't in yet, I guess.
No. River Road Bridge, I meant to ask Jay, I think we're gonna start working on that unless we have already. I meant to ask that while he was here, Jason.
Yeah. If it
Because
didn't-
we're gonna do it's my understanding we had secured the porta potty and the lift, and we were gonna start work on it, but then we had this big blizzard, so I think that might have put things back just a little further.
Probably.
Rental hospitality ordinance, again, right now that's tabled, that's really not for us. That'll be something, if the planning board moves forward with it, that would be where they would take it, but then it would eventually come back to us. Cemeteries, there is a gentleman I'm gonna reach out to right now. We're gonna be back on the hot seat come April 1st, though. The cemeteries will be back open for services.
Right.
There's a gentleman that Terry Knowles had given me that is someone that maybe we can talk to. There is construction type money there that we'd have to see if we could use it for that, but we really, we end up we're the trustees, so we end up, when someone needs to be buried, we lost John, but we'll have to use his probe material.
I can probably make one pretty quickly.
And we have to be able to see, first of all, if they can be buried there. Second of all, we'll have to go out and find the location and mark
There's
it.
one in the garage.
And,
Oh, is there?
yeah, we just haven't clipped
We still haven't gotten into
we haven't
yet.
clipped the lot, because nobody plows the cemeteries.
Okay.
So we ended up doing that on ours,
We
and then, we do, contract with a company called Dignified. They're in a subsidiary of Perry Brothers Monument in Concord. Two separate companies, but the company ends up digging the hole, whether it be a full burial or a cremation, and they do the vault. Typically, that's paid for by the person. We've talked about restructuring, we really, as a work session topic, and kind of leads into the DBW,
Vacancies.
the vacancies, but also the hiring of the director and things like that. We
Mhm.
gotta just kind of
Yep.
regroup with that. GOFA money, there is additional money for the boat ramp. They're due, by June 1st. I almost think there's a match, but again, something we can check into. When we left last, the solid waste ordinance was done in 1992. I don't know if there's a signed copy or not, but we talked about seeing if CRRA, which is Concord Resource Recovery Association, would look at it and see if it's outdated or not. We were gonna kind of compare. I haven't had a chance to do that. CBA, you all saw, you might
The
not
letter,
have
yeah, the
all-
emails.
and I don't know if you all saw it, or was it just you and I?
Oh, I don't
Well,
know.
I don't think we all have seen it.
Okay, so there was a request to, from the police union to get on our work session.
No, I did see it, 27th.
Yeah, that was on,
And
that was board
to
members.
talk about, possible
MOUs.
Use
MOUs. So I need to get the two of you,
the updated.
did you guys all get the, struck through and what are they
I
called,
gave-
marked up copies?
I gave you my copy that they gave me.
Okay, so I have yours.
Okay.
But these guys, just so, and that's why I didn't do it tonight, for the mere fact that we have
Right.
two new members that
Correct.
will wanna look at it.
They're gonna
So
wanna
what
look
it
at
was
first.
is the agreement was looked through, agreed upon, and our town council, you'll see the markup on the side. And so that's what we agreed upon, but then they wanna come back and have further discussion about a couple of aspects of it. So that'll be next week. I do have a question though. If we're gonna have town council here, you can have a meeting with town council, or are you expecting town council, or what are you talking about?
I don't think so. I don't.
I'm just,
my
I mean, I don't
expect-
know what the intent is,
My
I guess.
expectation was not to have town council here.
Okay,
But again, that was not, because that's kind of the way I felt the root of the conversation was gonna go.
okay.
So, but I could be wrong. Maybe I took the pulse of that.
Well, it's a year contract, so I didn't know, I guess before we know what we're gonna talk about, I guess probably not have,
I think,
Town council?
yeah, I think they can come in at a later date.
Well, the 4-1 is what they're trying to get this agreed upon. Before that, there's a cutoff date of 4-1.
well,
isn't
so
there?
what was approved was the marked up version, okay? And as Kevin said, that starts April 1st, so the idea would be any changes that you wanna make to this one that we had agreed to in January is for April 1st.
Right.
So,
Do you
I guess-
do you guys even know what we're talking about? Does
The
anybody-
collective bargaining with
It's-
the police
It was
department.
discussed March 6th, and at least in that meeting, we're gonna talk about it in this meeting.
Oh.
It sounds like it was pushed to next week.
yeah, so
Yeah.
when we created the work session, it was one of those, items, cause it's gonna take I think longer than a few minutes.
Right.
And I thought, when you and I set the agenda, it was to give them the opportunity and a little more time
Right.
to do that on the 27th. So we'll come down and do
It's also
the,
time sensitive to the
It's April 1st.
April 1st.
right.
So we really have.
27th is cutting it
So we have one meeting
close.
to get this in. So tonight, as you can tell, we're already we'd be entering into this conversation.
I'm just talking about what was discussed previously,
Yeah.
not
So the-
suggesting that we actually do that right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, an MOU is a memorandum of understanding. So it's my understanding that we approved what the document that I'll share with you was approved. As we have been informed by town council before, that an MOU can occur at any time.
Anytime, right.
So if something's presented to us and, we don't happen to agree next Monday, that doesn't mean that document that went to
It
town
can't go in
meeting
the week
is,
after.
we can have this conversation. But what was approved was what we agreed upon, that you'll get a copy of. I guess I understand
The urgency.
wanting to
Yeah.
meet by April 1st, but I don't know that there's an urgency, because MOUs can be done at any time.
Anytime, right.
And it's a year contract.
Yeah, in fairness to the police department,
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
being at all
yeah.
disrespectful, I'm just
So-
saying, I understand the urgency, but it's really not an urgency. Because we
Right.
can talk about
I
it.
mean, a decision isn't an urgency. So during the collective bargaining agreement, we came up with what we voted on, okay? That has gone through with a series of changes in their one-year contract. Post the agreed, what was gonna be put in the warrant article, they came back with a couple of suggested MOUs, okay? We said we wanted them to wait until election day.
The vote.
So we could find out, because what they were trying to do, which made sense, was to ensure that these small changes were included through MOU, okay? So they were sort of superseding the voting process. It could be interpreted that way, let me put it that way. So we said, no, let's get through the voting process and see where we stand, and then we'll take a look at the balance of these MOUs. And there's 3 or 4
And that's where we're at now, today.
that are still left on the table.
That's today.
And they would like to have that resolved by April 1st, which would then fall into the
The
yearly.
same cycle as,
calendar.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
that is almost verbatim what was said on the 6th in this meeting, so.
Right.
you'll-
Okay, so as long as everybody's sort of semi up to speed, and I'm not gonna pretend, it is confusing.
oh, it's very.
It is very
Yeah,
confusing.
and I don't mean to say that it's not important, it is very important, it's just, I think that there's kind of two differeses we've got here.
The timeline
Right.
is,
And the only reason it's confusing is because it has changed from conception to now. So we're sort of on the iPhone 12, okay? From the iPhone 1.
the iPhone 12, I like that.
It has. It has evolved. It has been an evolved process. They've changed the language. You can read something that was quoted 3 months ago and think you're on top of it,
And you're not,
but it's not.
no. All right.
And then the last, I already talked about 15 prior to the first one, and then 14, again, I owe these two gentlemen, the information was
Yep.
submitted to us. I have reached out and sent it over to town council for her
Okay.
opinion as to our next step.
Okay.
So when I'll send you guys this as well, it's fairly thick. I'm gonna now move down to the building part, the town hall list of projects, Benji hasn't changed since you were here, still a long list. But as you all know, just looking at the town hall, I mean,
It
there's
needs
not enough
love.
money,
It needs love.
it needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
They're a company in St. Johnsbury, Vermont that, may or may not be interested at this point, I don't know what anybody's workload is. Thursday, because Wednesday we had no power, we did sign the contract for the town hall bathroom renovations with the
Renovations, yep.
gentleman that was here. Kevin and I met with him. So he was also given a key so he can get started. Kevin, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, the only thing Mr. Parker we are lacking, we had someone lined up to sort of be the eyes and ears. Originally, by the way, guys, the project was going to be, the oversight was going to be by our building inspector. Our building inspector since has submitted his resignation. So we currently have a project underway with no one designated to physically oversee that work. And the work is pretty specific. You probably haven't seen that, but you can pass that down. And the contract is here too. That's the scope, and then there's the actual contract. We formalized that process too. So we do need someone to
Oversee it.
I mean, I almost cringe at this from my, again, years and years in business in this field, is we handed a key, signed a contract, and said,
you're on your own.
let us know when it's done, and hopefully it'll be done per plan and spec, right?
Right.
So Kyle, I don't know where or how he heard, but he made, he stepped to the plate tonight and made an offer. But someone has, really, we really have to have somebody take a look at it.
Watch it.
What are we gonna do about building inspecting till we hire somebody?
Mutual aid.
So can we
We're
use
gonna
it
try
for
to do
that?
mutual aid.
We're trying to do mutual aid, right?
So will
And
that
just
work
to-
for the
just
town
to,
hall?
Well, it'll work for the actual, there's electrical and plumbing involved, so it would work for the electrical and plumbing inspections, okay? Because the contractor will have to pull an electrical permit and a plumbing permit. But the mutual aid is not, he's not a project manager. He's not someone that's gonna
Right.
come in and oversee the
See it.
project, right?
Right.
I mean, they're there to look at the physical. A building inspector goes in and he looks at the framing of that project, but he
That's legal.
doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah, but he doesn't necessarily say, straighten that stud or add another nail. That's not his job.
Right.
And this is this project is to make sure, which we've already discovered, because we reviewed the submittals, the initial submittal package, that they were submitting an alternate to the sink fixtures
Yeah.
that wouldn't have met the ADA, so we rejected that. So we don't want to wait until the project's done and walk in and find out that, oh no, you didn't put in the right materials, because at that point it becomes an issue for us.
Right.
So that is going to have to be decided pretty quickly, who's going to take that role
We
on.
gotta look at that, yeah.
So just to add to that, Romeo's last day is tomorrow. He told me today.
Okay.
He's had some personal issues crop up and he needs to step away sooner than he had expected. I have reached out to the area, I reached out to New Boston, I reached out to anybody that surrounds us. Goffstown, we still have a mutual aid agreement with, he's willing to help. We didn't get to talk today, because when he left a message and I called him back, he was out of the office. So, we do have to, yeah, he said no. We do have an urgency, obviously. Building season's gonna start back up.
Yep.
So, the other towns have offered, their inspectors, that are part-time, that may be looking to pick up another community.
Okay.
Henniker is part-time, Dunbarton is part-time. New Boston said no. I'm just thinking of the area around us, and I didn't hear from Francistown, but Hopkinton, they all gave me everybody's contact information because they're part-time.
Right.
And said, here they are, they might want more hours.
So what do we do, how are we going to handle tomorrow
Thank you.
when the electrical contractor walks in for the town hall to pull the electrical permit?
Well, he'll be here tomorrow. It's
Well,
just
I'm
Wednesday
just,
and
yeah,
Thursday. No,
I'm
I
being
don't.
a little, so that project could get delayed because we wouldn't be able.
No, because we can use Goffstown, you just have to have some notice,
Right.
Not sure.
Yeah,
But, yeah, so tomorrow will be Romeo's last day, which kind of crimped things a little bit.
Building inspectors, a lot of them aren't qualified to say yay or nay on electrical.
well, the licensed electrician,
They go on their license, so I don't think the building inspector has anything, can do anything for you unless they're a licensed electrician.
oh, yes,
Because I had to have a guy come out from, the head guy from the state come out when you had, Ed.
yeah, I mean, you have building, if you have someone that doesn't understand basic, a building inspector will walk around and they have a grounding device and they'll stick it in a few outlets and they'll see that the light lights and that, yes, okay, the outlets are grounded. But if you're not qualified to look at, matter of fact, the electrical panels have changed in the last 5 years from everything we've known before, if you're not qualified to look at that, yes, you can request the state electrical inspector to come in. 706 Reservoir Drive is a perfect example of where he comes in to back somebody up, right? So, yeah, we could, the final inspection of the town hall, if it required it, it really, in this particular case, electrical, it doesn't, because we're changing out fixtures and pretty straightforward stuff. We would need to call in state electrical inspector. Romeo called him in all the time, okay, because he was not familiar with commercial electrical. So he would request the state electrical or plumbing inspector or HVAC inspector. Same with fire suppression systems, right? He certainly is not familiar with fire suppression systems, so he can't test sprinkler systems. So yeah, that is the case, but I'm just curious because the building inspector approves the permit that the electrical inspector comes in and pulls. That permit is reviewed, his license number is checked. So my question is, who's gonna check that?
Right.
Call Concord, they've gotta have it all on.
What they usually
Okay,
do.
so we don't know the answer to that question. That's my point. And we have a project starting that's critical to the town, so I'm trying to, I guess, navigate how this is, all of a sudden we have a guy who's under contract for a fixed amount of money to do a project that now we're gonna create a delay, and he could actually claim a change order for, rightfully so.
Right.
Because we've initiated him to now engage. So,
Yeah, we're gonna have to, I think.
Well, I mean,
Concord, have them verify his number.
so what
Really,
they
all
have
you
to
gotta
come
do.
with their
who?
license.
Who makes the call?
Naomi should be able to make it.
Well, that's the question. I don't really think it's a town administrator's call, but, I mean, that's your
Phone
opinion,
number.
but, yeah. But we need to get somebody involved in this project to exactly, to keep things moving and to make sure that we get what we're paying for. That's what's before the board right now.
So right now, when anyone comes in for an electrical, they have to have their license with them. Can't be a copy, can't be anything.
Has to be the
They
license.
have to have a license. And if you're a master or corporate, I mean, Romeo has directed Tony and them to how and
So will
what.
they be able, so
Yes.
Katie will be able to?
Katie will be able to, the inspection is something different, but as long as you have your master electrician, you can't come in with a journeyman and do it.
Right,
But if you have a master electrician or corporate,
right.
then under the corporate, there's so many people that can pull permits. And if you're not one of them, we do make a phone call and check on them, and Katie's done a great job at doing that. So we can issue, inspection is where we'll have the issue.
Okay.
But we can work on that, for sure, and we can work with our abutting neighbors, and go from there.
Okay,
But it, as far as the permit, inspection, as I said, is another project. But we can keep it moving,
okay,
sure.
good.
A library, obviously, they're not gonna start that till the snow goes. So
Right.
That's been contracted and we're just waiting. Riverdale Road, we still haven't, we've got the plan, we just haven't been to zoning yet. Solar, there's 3 residents that have, I don't know how much conversation I've had with the one that was spearheading, had approached me about a solar project and putting solar in, and that's always been, I think the right thing to do is to move towards green and going to solar. I've reached out twice, and then the 2 times to try to get a work session or have her come in, something's cropped up and it's been a drive back from another, so that hasn't happened. And then the other 2 things I put on there, honestly, just so we don't lose track of, is the stone building, the copper cap. Sherry had reported that Walker's supposed to be doing it at
So
some,
I called him this week as a reminder.
okay, and then the East Road barn, this roof still needs some fixing.
He's said that he would go down and attach that when he was here doing the copper.
Okay, well, I just put them on there, just so we
As
don't
long as
lose
it's
track
separate
of-
invoices.
Yeah.
Just gotta be separate invoices, that's all.
And then I just have one more, just want to give you an update. I came in an email after I'd finished, Neil Kirk came in today, and the Ethics Committee is off and running.
Okay.
They've coordinated as to what, day or what day of the week
They're gonna
they can
meet.
come in here and meet.
Okay.
So, looks like they're selected the first meeting to be, April 13th, which I will post and we'll have it live. And then from there, they'll pick a regular meeting, just to try to stay on board, but stay in this room and be televised.
Okay.
So,
Good.
that's all.
All right. Does the board have any correspondence or other business?
Did want to speak briefly about minutes going forward. I appreciate everything you did to catch us up as far as they were. There are still gaps, and so I guess I'd like to just confirm with the town administrator, what do you expect as far as like today's minutes? Would you be able to get those within the
Yep.
5-day?
Yeah, I have 5 business days.
Right, I'm just
And
confirming.
last week's was done proper. I did them at 10:30 last night, but they were had till today to be done.
So I think that rolls into a larger conversation
Yeah.
that I've had with town administrator a little bit. We've touched upon it, is now that that we have a budget that's passed and is reflective of where we're at today, is to actually get a minute taker on the books. You know, it's been said at the podium, it's been said at this table, that you know, putting the minutes on her is too much. It's literally too much. I understand we have a legal obligation, and unfortunately, we've missed that mark substantially, and I'm not gonna disagree with that. But again, it's, you know, I mean, how many times have you heard tonight, Naomi can do that, Naomi can do that, Naomi can do that? And that's the problem. That's the problem, is we keep putting more and more load on her, that she physically, as much as she wants to do, she cannot do it. So,
Didn't Karen do the minutes when Karen was upstairs?
she did,
Karen left us a year ago.
but she left us a
I
year
know.
ago.
But isn't that Monique's position now?
Well, we also have a tax collector too, so.
But
That's
been
vacant.
2 months.
Yeah.
It's not just 2 months. I mean,
Not just
right
2
now, we're
months,
in the
no.
middle of a lien procedure, then we're gonna go to a tax deed, then we're gonna go to bills again.
Right.
So I think what we have to do, and again, I don't know, we should have employee talks
Yeah.
publicly, is I think we have to figure out everybody's strength and weakness.
Right.
Minutes were someone's weakness, strength might be another person's weakness.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to figure that out. We've got fairly new staff.
But I think,
I've got 4 people that have been just a year. I've got 2 people that are just, one's coming off 6 months, one's got 6 months in June. So we're talking new staff, and we're trying to figure out where the best we can do for everybody. And I think, and that's the conversations that Rick and I have had.
Yeah. So Salem, can I, this is something I've been real interested in having a conversation with you, because I've been kicking it around with the board, is we document all the meetings in YouTube video. We are taking our minutes in a very old school fashion. For instance, tonight, we had almost 45 minutes of public comment, people getting up and talking. And that 45 minutes has to be taken verbatim and transferred from a YouTube video, someone sitting and listening, and along with the rest of this meeting, right? Everything we've talked about now for whatever, we're on 3 hours. So the YouTube video is documentation, and if in fact something critical happens, right, and we need to focus on a specific moment, when was this said? So is there a way for us to create a sort of generic, okay, Frank Capana stood at 7:08 talking to a topic of X, time-stamped minute that we could then access what actually happened during his 5-minute presentation.
rather than verbatim
I mean,
saying.
my reading of 91A is that is not okay. That
Okay.
is a good thing to add on.
It's a supplement.
Right.
It'd be a
And I absolutely would not expect that on top of everything you're already doing. That would be great to have if we have somebody dedicated to this work, but that is not a substitute.
Right.
So there's no way we could create a less, it has to be done in
But
writing
it-
verbatim.
It does not have to be verbatim. Just as if somebody asks to have their statement included verbatim, We do not have to
That's my
agree to
understanding.
that.
But that is my understanding. Right now, we are doing them verbatim.
But that does not have to be done. It is a summary. I can find the exact.
Well, and the reason, but to step back, the reason that we have done verbatim all these years is because we've had to go back and reference things.
Exactly, but
And-
now with the YouTube, we have
To
that
me, it would
reference.
be,
So
it would
we
be a
could-
supplement.
So we
It would
could
not be a replacement.
So maybe I used the wrong term by using the term generic, but a summary. Okay, so here was.
And that's what's legally defined.
That's
as a summary.
legally defined as a
Right,
summary.
so here's, and I kind of already know this, so, but I like, sometimes like asking questions so that I get everybody onto the same page. So where we've fallen down, where we've hit the roadblock is we can create the summary, we have the YouTube documentation that we can timestamp, we can do it right here as it's happening, okay? To the minute that we would go to look for those details that someone might want to know, right? But the archiving of the YouTube video,
That's where we're at, is.
because
how
they
do you-
don't stay up forever.
Right, how do you properly, how do you download that onto a format that is gonna be accessible for years to come? And that's where we're at.
And then put them into
Some kind of storage
backed up
system.
storage.
There are myriad ways to
Right.
I
get
know,
videos
and
off
this is
YouTube
why, and this is
and
why,
post them on
so
our
this is
website.
what I want you, and you'll
But I
look,
think that is far off of where I started this conversation of, all I care about is very small baby steps. Will these minutes be posted within 5 business days? You said yes. That's what I care about. And I totally appreciate this conversation. I think we should continue it, but it's far off of the question that I actually care
oh,
about.
yeah, and I believe she answered that she'll have them done in the 5 days. But what we're trying to do here is use
Simplistic
technology, get current in our times in how we can expedite this process without somebody spending an hour and a half to
Transcribing.
document a 3-hour
I mean, there are
meeting.
plenty of tools that will transcribe
Well,
for
we-
you.
we've tried that. We tried that, and it was, what was the first one, 14 or 18 pages?
55.
Because it says speaker one, where you guys, that would've been 20 pages right
Yeah.
there. Because it just says speaker one, speaker two,
And you
speaker
say
one,
2
speaker
words,
two.
he says 2, you say 2, he says 2, he says 4, and
Right.
it's speaker 1,
And then the
speaker
mic
2,
gets hit,
speaker
and
1,
next thing you know,
speaker 2.
it's 55 pages.
I tried Speak Right because, and speaking with the chief of police, they use that, but that's a totally different
That's a
format.
one-on-one.
That's a deposition and things like that. It's not an open meeting.
Right.
Right.
Where
I
it's,
mean, there are certainly tools that we use
Sure.
in the companies I work for that may fit better, but I think
But what, I mean,
Yeah, so and this wasn't meant to be, it was never intended to be a distraction from your question. I thought your question was answered, but
Well, and I did
we're
have a
trying.
follow-up.
Yeah, one of the things that we do as a board is we try to solve the problem, and this has been an ongoing problem for us, okay? And we increased public comment from 3 to 5 minutes while we had the problem, by the request of the public. So all of a sudden, we added even additional time. So I use this word, so noodle that, like, here's the problem, and how can I help because of my expertise?
I mean, my immediate solution is take summaries, brief summaries, and then if we have to, or we have the manpower to, then come back to the expectation that we have right now of more verbatim minutes. But the legal obligation is a summary. So I'm sorry that a summary may be too brief, and we do have to go back to the YouTube videos, but that's kind of where we are today, of it's more verbatim, and then you still have to go to the videos.
right.
So my answer to actually get us legal would be brief summaries.
Okay, so we get it legal, and then moving forward, how do we preserve that
And that's
YouTube
what-
video
Yep.
for referral? That's what we need.
because YouTube won't stay up forever. And
Right,
we've got,
yeah,
Put
and
on
it
the
shouldn't be
cloud.
expected.
We should be able to
the
put it on.
cloud's gonna
Yeah.
rain someday
Yeah.
and not
Not
work.
gonna last forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and that, I mean, we've
Well, my
gone back,
cloud's full,
yeah.
unless I wanna spend more money.
We've gone many
You know?
times back to minutes to see who did what and what we voted on. And even then, even when they were verbatim, the best ones that we had, we've still gone, so like you said, to satisfy the 91A is a summary, but there has to be some kind of a supplement. I would agree with the video, some kind of a media storage
Yeah.
that we can
Yeah,
still
that would be
open.
the easiest.
You know,
Most bulletproof would probably be a burned DVD that is done incrementally
And put in
with
the vault.
backups, put with the paper
Right.
or
Yes,
separate from
exactly.
the paper.
And put in a
Exactly,
vault.
and put in a
Yeah,
vault.
Exactly.
yeah, so,
But we need someone, again, we talk about this stuff all the time, but then we need someone to actually
savvy enough to put that in
create
those
it,
emotions, right?
create the scope, this is what we have to do, this is the equipment we'd have to buy to do it, and this is where
This
it's
is how
gonna
we convert
go,
that.
and that's how it'll get done.
So great idea. We've brainstormed as to how we can pull them down because there is time that you need to go back and look at them. Burning it to a DVD, you buy a laptop today and it doesn't have a DVD.
Yep.
Just like CDs.
External drive.
USB.
Okay.
Or
I'm just-
USB,
I'm just
USB,
saying,
yeah.
all right, that's what was my question, because you buy
You
a
can
card
put it on
today
a
and there's
thumb
no
drive,
CD
right?
player in
Yeah.
it either.
You can put on a thumb drive.
Plug it in and
I want something that, as we talked about, something that
Move with the
isn't gonna
technology.
go away.
Yeah.
We talked about an external terabyte, couple terabyte drive, and catalog it by the meetings, by the year. Or we've talked about a whole different things, but I don't know how to do that, so.
So there's just a collaboration if you
Yeah.
have time
Yep.
to get
Yeah,
to
I'm
thinking about
very
that.
comfortable with everything we're talking about.
All right,
so.
Yeah.
yeah, so if you could assist us with that. that'd
Good,
be great.
that'd
Absolutely.
be perfect, thanks.
Yeah, all right, any other correspondence? I've got quite a few.
Good, fire away, Ricky.
I had a phone call, a couple of phone calls from out of town. And
Out of town or around town?
Out of town
Okay,
about, an issue, I guess, and also, a comment that was made in front of me, that we have hired a consultant.
we have not.
Well, the person that's saying it says he's been hired as a consultant, and he
That's
is,
good, because he hasn't.
I know, I'm just telling you what's been said.
Well,
And it's coming from another town besides that. Other
Oh.
people are saying, called me and asked me, did you hire him for a consultant? And I said, no,
correct, and
that's all I've said.
it's not really their business, so, but, just saying, but but the answer is no.
Yeah, I said no, that's all I said to him.
Okay.
No.
So I did wanna, you all set? Okay. So we did get a, Freedom of Information Act request from an individual, so we're gonna fill that. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of,
I got 6 of them waiting
Content.
to do.
huh,
I had 6 of them waiting to do.
for the same topic?
No.
Okay, all
The
right.
3M Corporation you've all read about?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that one's like 60 pages deep.
oh,
But
lovely.
that's, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's huge.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know what
huge.
I'm gonna do with that one. That's, they're asking for things in the 50s. I wasn't here in the 50s. So, we'll work on that one.
Okay, all right.
That's one of them. I have
Yep.
3 new ones.
That's
Yeah.
probably one of the easier ones to do then, obviously. There was, the Ethics Committee is coming together. I just reviewed my emails, but I don't remember why I have that one there. There was the CBA, I don't know if that would be a topic for the next line item, that we can talk about. Got a letter from a departed member, from the board, from John Van, thanking us and giving us good luck. Basically saying that it's been an interesting and insightful 3 years, weathered COVID, 2 default budgets, loads of personnel, and a ton of education. So, just wishing us the best and to keep on keeping on, basically. And then, we kind of hit on it a little bit, the minute taker position. I think that's probably going to be a topic for next week, I would think. That's something we need to discuss. And then, Kevin, did you want to talk about that letter you forwarded to the board, or no?
Oh,
That's up to you. If you do
yeah,
not, if you don't, it's
I
fine.
forwarded a letter that we received from the board, which was just,
Notification.
a notification of some things that were happening outside the boardroom. Names were mentioned, again, it's just more for transparency. The sender sent it just to 2 individuals, and I thought it was worthy that the whole board just saw it. I don't think there's any action that needs to happen with it. It's unbecoming behavior of a person sitting or having the authority that they have. That's a topic that I don't believe we have control over.
That's correct.
Anyway, so as far as I was,
Just informational.
just informational.
Okay.
If you have another one, go.
I am done with correspondence. I was
I
thinking.
just have another quick note as far as, John came in tonight and laid on an explanation for what happened.
Moderator Morton.
Moderator Morton, excuse me. And, I mean, I guess I personally accept some responsibility for not asking the question because we were in a meeting on Monday night here till I watched the town clerk exit the building that night. We knew the weather, we discussed the weather, we voted as a board not to put the employees in danger. We closed town hall. I think a lot of mistakes were made. And I just hope in the future, whoever's sitting on the board, if we end up with another voting with a promise
Pending
of
storm.
36 pending storm, that we ask the question, because obviously we were dragged into the mix, accusations were made about the fact.
Everybody.
And up to these accusations and up to actually diving deeper into the election procedural manual, I just assumed that all of it falls directly to the moderator, and which it does, but it doesn't state that we can't ask the question of him and have input.
Right.
So, I mean, it could have gone a heck of a lot better. We shouldn't have been counting votes with headlamps on
Yeah,
at
we
10
were.
o'clock at night. It does state in here too, there was a couple things that happened that day that don't fall within the guidelines. But it also states here, Ricky, that the moderator should accompany us back here.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. To deliver the ballots,
Back
which
to the vault.
this is, and,
Usually they used to come back to moderate.
well,
Not this time.
I've, in my first year, I've attended 3 elections and no one's come back. Isn't that correct, Frank?
The moderator hasn't come back?
No.
So,
On and off.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
not-
they have some. 'cause
Okay,
I've
on and
been
off.
there.
I spent 2 with Frank and 1 with Ricky. And I haven't spent 1 with the moderator.
so.
So,
All right.
try to clean that up so we don't get the.
I mean, when we had, nobody expected the 36 inches.
No, it was pockets of 18.
Unfortunately, it's a huge decision that is laid in one person's hands. We, in my work, did have a conference call Sunday night at 6 PM with all the town officials and the moderator and emergency management, and worked as a team, gave him our, not opinions, I know what Chief Moore is saying, because I kind of treaded on the same ice. I'm not gonna tell you what I think, I'm gonna tell you what my action's gonna be tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, this is what I'm gonna do.
We kind of told him our concerns and, we'll do our best, and gave him as much of the tools as he could as a team to make his decision on time, so. And maybe that happened here, I don't know, I'm just saying, relaying my experience that I had the very same day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, but it was 8 to 12 with pockets of 18 and not 30 and 36, that's for
I
sure.
don't think
Yeah.
I never even heard more than 18.
I never heard any more than 18, no, and that was a pocket, and it was only in the Cheshire area, it wasn't here, so.
Speaking of that, the day that I was over there first thing in the morning at 6:30, and, I guess, I didn't know it, but I guess, Maureen had a couple, 3 people that had signed up to help, and then they called in and said they weren't coming.
Right.
And I don't know when they called her, the night before, I believe, but anyway, she said she could have used help. Well, we didn't get that information because we surely could have had the girls here that weren't gonna be working go
Oh,
help her.
we
just
could have,
didn't
yeah.
know- We just didn't know that.
Well, we didn't know we were gonna lose power either
No,
and
there
stuff
was a
like
lot
that,
of-
so.
There was a lot of factors. So-
Yeah, and there was a lot of fly-by-night decisions, let's be real, I mean, you gotta, you gotta react and make the show go on, so. But, again, I think that leads to a real heartfelt thank you to the officials and,
Right.
people that did attend, the police department, the fire department, all the line crews, the DPW, everybody that was out there. It really, again, it was a 8 to 12 and turned into 30 plus, so, nobody really expected that. So again, hats off to everybody that was involved in the school, getting the generator and everything hooked up, so, but, all right, work session agenda. So, would like to, continuation of what we were doing last week. Hopefully we'll have the, job descriptions back by then, so we can do a little more, polishing on those. The DPW director and the town administrator. We can,
Do you want to look at a draft for police?
yeah, Monday we can. If, maybe we can send it out. Well, he did have the one that, he sent us,
Yeah, I have both of them.
so,
Who sent you?
the chief out of their manual. He has a
The
job
the
description
police
already.
chief's job description.
Yeah, when Sean Kelly wrote it, so. There is one floating around, it's just, again, it was from
Right here.
2014, I think. Was
Yes.
the last update, so could use to be polished, I'm
You
sure.
also, we have collective bargaining, so you're gonna have the
Yep.
police department coming.
Yep, which I was gonna say, yeah, we should do the CBA that night.
So that's next Monday, we're planning on meeting.
Yep. As a work session.
Yep.
Probably wouldn't hurt at that, on the flip side of that CBA, to just touch upon the radios, just to see if there's any changes as far as antennas, towers, et cetera.
Okay. So you want an update on the radio?
Yep.
When we have them in the room, do you want to ask about East Street, the gun range? Get clarification, because we've never approved that.
We didn't approve it, oh.
We've never voted on that.
It's still up in the air to go over there.
Oh, they're using it.
They're using it, but we've
We never
never
said yes,
authorized
Well,
that
then,
use
I
of
guess
that
we'll discuss it,
property.
we can have that discussion.
But is
I
that in
know
the work
that came
session?
up when I was here, which obviously says no longer said, but there was, usually it's what we.
Right.
Well, the only reason I ask that question is, when is the right time to ask that question? Because
I think it's-
we didn't approve it, and it did come up in another issue relative to another board.
Another board, right, so.
Right.
Yeah, we can have that discussion.
You want to just add that to the work session as long as
Do
we
that.
have them here?
Yeah, Yep.
Okay, that's the only thing I had.
All right.
Well, you're gonna be border, that's a lot of 2 hours.
Right, so I think, I had one more, but I'll table it until the next one. So, yeah, because I think that covers,
That'll be full.
that covers just about everything I wanted to talk about, so. But, any other
So,
business?
Can I have a question? So a comment was made that, the work session they thought was for the board, and they were surprised to see at the work session, we had invited 2 people in to talk about the lighting.
Right,
They thought the work session, a lot of people took the work session where there's not a lot of public input, that it was gonna be our work session, even though the camera was gonna be on, and
and
So
that is
how-
the goal.
Yeah.
Kevin and I and the town administrator and previous board members have kind of gone back and forth, and I don't, personally, my own take is that's probably, we did have a non-public scheduled for last week because we had a potential hire that was, obviously, we all know the labor market's very hot. That should not have waited 2 weeks. But by unwritten thought, probably would not want to have non-publics on the work session nights. There's really no reason to. If they can be held to a regular work night, which would be tonight, let's hold them to that night. But again, that was kind of a special exemption as far as I'm concerned. It's just, to me, that was.
Well,
that
because
was
of the need.
To the time, the
Right.
timeline.
Right.
Again, you wait, you lose, which I think we did on that one anyways, but.
Yeah, we did.
6:30?
But 6:30,
Okay.
yeah. But I think that, again, it's not a regularly scheduled meeting, but if we need to discuss things with
Well,
applicable
Things come
people.
up,
Yeah,
you could have a personal matter that you gotta deal with right away.
absolutely, and that's something, is by nature, it's not designed that way, but we may have to react that way. So, just a thought.
So
And,
just, can I recap?
yep,
Town administrator job description, DPW job description, police chief job description, CBA and radio update, and East Street firing range,
that sounds good. That sounds like 2 hours, all of it,
plus.
plus. So, any other board member have?
I apologize for going backwards, very briefly. I did have a follow-up on the minutes that
Yep, go ahead.
got a little lost. Do you have a feel for when the gaps will get filled in?
If I could be left alone
Yeah.
in a real world, I mean, I did 5 sets. Because I take notes and summarize, I try to summarize, and then it's a matter of just putting my notes on paper, and then what I do is I go to the YouTube for the exact motion, because you guys talk faster than I can write, I never took shorthand. So I try to make sure those motions are correct. So, I would love to think if I could just shut myself in for a day or so, I could do a certain amount of minutes. Some go faster than others, but I'm taking the approach, which is why I did so many of them, is to just do the outline. And the minutes are the the motions are the motions. I can't sit here and tell you that it's gonna be tomorrow, or, you know, and it's gonna take some time, because there's probably 10, 12 sets left.
Yep.
And I took them 2 weekends in a row and worked late at night, and I came home and posted them.
Yeah, and those
You
look
know.
like they were coming real time.
Yeah.
5 minutes, another 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I did them, 10:30 last night, because I said I'd get them out to you. So I put them on and posted them at 10:30.
So broadly, sooner rather than later, though.
Say that again?
Broadly, sooner rather than later, but
Yeah,
not.
that's what my goal is too, trust me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she wants it off her plate, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's just a lot
Yeah.
we don't need to talk about, but personally, I've had some issue, so.
It is something that I told a lot of people
Yeah.
I would harp on,
Yeah.
and so here I am.
I
Here
hear
you are.
I hear you, and I understand it, you know, and I feel like it's failure, you know, but that's just how,
Yeah.
You can look at
you know.
And it hasn't gone ignored. I mean, I brought it up in quite a few meetings.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And I just think if, it just like I said, had the time to just take it, I can do a lot on a weekend, I can do, but that, again, I wanna get them done too, it's my pile on
It's
my
getting
desk.
Yeah, yeah, get off
It's
the
my
plate.
pile on my desk, I just wanna
Right.
get out.
So, anybody else have anything tonight? A lot of information, is you guys know what signed up for?
That was a
So-
good meeting.
It was a good meeting, so. All right, gonna move to adjourn. There's a
Second.
move and seconded, nice. All in favor? Yes,
Hang
good
on
night,
one second.
everyone.
Hang on.
We'll, we have, yeah.
I think it's stuck to something they